Hello and welcome to the Crow's Nest. My name is Brandon Kane, and we've got ourselves a little bit of a late start today. Here's a couple innings deep into this particular Mariner game. We got some live Mariner action going on tonight as our Mariners are hoping to keep their hot streak going, see if they can keep it continuing on here as they have gotten themselves one hell of a late season run here to begin things, which has been very, very impressive. So we're going to watch this game out. We've got a 0 score here through the first 2 innings or so. But we do have a double to lead things off here and begin things. So that's good to see. And so maybe the Mariners make a little bit of noise here. It's been a pretty incredible run that they've had this year. This late into the season when we were so thoroughly average for so very long on the year. But they have found their way. They have found their way. And we've got a runner on second, 0-1 count here. We got Haniger up the plate. We got a little Hanny love tonight. Haggerty love, I mean. Not Haniger. Haggerty. We got Swags Haggerty in the lineup. He's quickly 0-2 right now. Y2K, how you doing, man? It's good to see you, huh? Yeah, Dylan Moore looking good on that double. He's been, like a lot of hitters in this lineup, kind of slowly starting to turn things around. 0-2 pitch here. Hit foul. News and analysis with Arturo. Go Mariners, man. Go Mariners. So good to see their... it's kind of incredible that they've been able to pull this off this late into the season to get this kind of run. Especially because there was not the ups and downs throughout the course of the season. It was just them kind of in that middling territory where they then just sort of found this gear at this point. It's been wonderful. This ball's hit on the ground. It's going to be able to bring the runner over to third, but Haggerty will be out at first. Almost serves like a bit of a bunt there. Megan, how you doing? It's good to see you in the house. Says Hawksness, 2 of my 3 football teams had a win, and the third was the Vikes. Well, there you go. Not too bad. Megan says, Crow's Nest getting my Y2 channel ready to launch too. Sweet. I always recommend doing that type of stuff. So let it rip. Let it rip, Megan. Nitro, Mariners started playing good when you ripped into them a few weeks ago. I guess maybe they heard me. Yeah, I don't know. I guess they heard me. They heard me getting sharp with them. Maybe I lit a fire under their butts. But yeah, I was definitely tired of watching the games we were watching, and they've done a little bit of a better job, I think, of playing smaller ball. They've done a little bit better of a job, it feels like, in their approach to the plate and being patient at the plate and not just being free swing city all the time. But it has also been the long ball. We saw this yesterday with 3 home runs in that game, and you still are a team that does lean on that for the way you play, good, right, bad, or indifferent. But it has been good to see the team come together in the manner they have, especially on the back of the injury we had with Kelnick. And see what they can do here, See if they can continue to make some noise here, keep it going. Kind of something we talked about last week was if, some of these guys like your Teoscar Hernandez's and your Suarez, if they can just hit around, their average for their career and just get kind of right around there, that'd be good enough. Just get us out of the low 200s. Caballero here with the 1-2 count. He's going to foul that up and hang in there tough. Good job by Cabby here. Trying to get that ball in play so you can get a runner plated. Megan says, I'm not sure if it will be any good, but people have asked for it, so we'll see what happens, I guess. I think it'll be great, Megan. I think it's, the key with doing those channels is if you do it, stay with it. Start up, go, and stay on it. A lot of people, and Caballero swings at a fastball at the top of the zone for strike number 3. That'll be 2 outs. Tough there, man. You just wanted him to get the bat on the ball there, get the guy in from third base. Let's see if Julio can clean it up here for Caballero. But, Megan, I've done some consulting for people that have done some channels, especially a studio down in California. And, the one thing people always tend to do with this stuff is they start it up and then they quickly will quit, if they're not seeing the results. Stay with it, If the results aren't there, that's not the end of the world. They eventually can get there. Stuff takes time. YouTube depresses stuff kind of artificially. It doesn't allow you just to go viral and have 1 million people behind you. So you just got to be consistent and go with it. but it's also a lot of fun. Julio bounces a ball foul here, so he is 0-1. Dylan Moore getting his lead here from third base. 0-0, Orioles, Mariners. Foul back, 0-2. News and analysis, the Seahawks won versus the Vikings, and Real Madrid won Athletic Club Bilbao. So it's a good weekend for me. Hell yeah, man. It's good to hear. It was a good win the other night. I think everybody's feeling really good about it. Come on. Oh, excuse me. I think everybody's feeling really good about it, as they should. Kind of like I was putting in my video the other night. It was a real team win, which was really good to see. But nice when you got multiple teams winning. You know, it's good when the Hawks are winning, good when the Mariners got a winning streak going. All good vibes. I kind of appreciate it. Julio's 0-2 here. Hits it off the nub of the bat. It's drifting back, and a little over-the-shoulder catch there by the second baseman will retire the side. So we are through 3 innings of play here, each team with a base hit, but unfortunately, no runs. Y2K, it's weird now, especially with when Kelenic comes back. So many outfield lefties. Time to get Cabby back in AAA in my book. Yeah, probably. You're in a little bit of a pickle with that with Kelenic when he does come back. And, I mean, you know, you want to make sure he's fully healthy with where the position's rolling at right now as it's been playing. So, you know, you definitely are going to be happy to bring him back in the lineup, I think. But certainly a little bit of this jump by the Mariners has occurred once. Not that it's Kelenic's fault. It's just as much that when you took Kelenic out of the lineup, you know, you went from Julio, Suarez, Teoscar Hernandez, Cal Raleigh, and Jared Kelenic, who are all high strikeout hitters, just a really, really heavy rate of striking out. And you took one of those out of your lineup and then put it in for a guy that was going to make a little bit more consistent contact. And you can have a few of these guys in your lineup, but I don't know if you can have them proliferated through your lineup, which is how it is a little bit right now. But it'll be interesting to see how it's going to go when everything kind of all settles back in. Megan says I already have 20 subs and nothing is there yet. There you go, Megan. Already kicking butt. Not even done a thing. Pretty good. It's pretty good. Kirby's pitching good here to start things off, too. 2 strikeouts in 3 innings. Got that ERA down to 3.25. Which will definitely work. All right, Kirby into his wind here to begin the top of the 4th inning. First pitch swinging deep in the hole. It's going to be a tough play there for the shortstop. Great play. Great pick by Ty France. Fantastic play by Dylan Moore, ranging to his right and then throwing off balance, going away from the first base bag. Can't put a lot on it, and it's going to be a late pick there for Ty France, and he was able to just pluck that thing right off the ground. Great job. Dylan giving Crawford a night off tonight. Well-deserved night off for Croft. Looking a little Crawford-esque. 1 down now. Ooh, that pitch looked good. Ball 1. Omega says, B, do you take notes for your streams or just know what you want to speak about? I usually have bullet points for the top of the stream. My preparation, the more preparation you can do, I think, Megan, the better. I'll say that. So you're never going to have too much stuff that ends up holding you down by doing that. So I usually do just a little button-up notes that I can reference. It can't be too much stuff because it's hard for me to read and be talking at the same time too much. 1-2 count here as that ball's batted foul. But I would recommend as much prep as you can do, the better. Some shows I'm able to get more in than others, and Y2K, Demo we have for $3 million a year for 2 to 3 more years, I believe. Could be OP. Could be very helpful if he can round into the kind of the player that there's been a lot of promise there around him. As a utility guy that can play everywhere, can give you a little bit of pop, which is in that strike three inside part of the plate. Hitter just looking at the pitch. Pretty gnarly little fastball there. I don't know why he's asking ump just to bail him out on that fourth pitch. You already asked the ump to bail you out on the third. And that thing's right down Main Street there. I don't know what you're thinking. Just there's a lot of movement on it. Nice pitch by Kirby. And it could be Y2K. He's been injured through a lot of this year and kind of late to come back in, so he's been a bit of a forgotten man this year. But, when it comes to constructing lineups into the future, from finding really valuable utility guys that can play anywhere and give guys days off to, finding bats that are going to be a little more consistent, you need it all. 0-1 count here. Kirby is his typical usual strikeout pump or fast strike pitching self. Boy, he's right there at the zone too. If he's missing, he's just missing by a couple inches. 1-1. Kirby's not too happy right now. The ump's not giving him the low strike. Kirby kind of shakes his head a little bit. Comes back with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball right down the center of the plate and swung through by the hitter. Nicely done. Megan says, I'm worried that too much prep will mean I want to get things perfect and not be happy and therefore not post anything. Well, yeah. I mean, the end of the day, the most important thing beyond doing prep, it's kind of like what's the order of priority? And the order of priority is going to be to get videos out and be consistent in your production. And if that's going to come at the cost of you having notes, then the notes must be done away with because you want to get the videos out. I think first and foremost, especially as a really early, young channel, in my opinion. That's the way I would do it. So if it's going to cause you to go that way with it, then definitely consider, I guess, not. But if possible, they do help you, I think. And that's really only for my live stream stuff, Megan. I don't have much notes really for when I'm doing the uploads and stuff. That one's I'm just taking the best take. Swing and a miss. George Kirby looking dominant this inning. Gets back-to-back strikeouts to finish it on up, and we'll go to the bottom of the fourth inning, and the score will remain 0-0. Y2K says, and Demo has that Jesse Winker walk ability. He does. He does give you a little bit of that patience at the plate, that's for sure. I just don't know if he could be an everyday guy. Could he be the answer for you at second long term? And I don't know. I think we want to go harder. But I do like him as a utility guy that can basically play everywhere. Well, Yared says, Crawford's on the 7-day IL for concussion. Not a day off. Oh, my bad. Yikes. I didn't see he had gotten concussed. Well, that's not good. Well, maybe it'll end up being a good thing where it gives him an extra kind of week after a long season to kind of rest up that body. He's played a lot of games this year. We need Croft. We need Croft in that lineup. Megan says, thanks for the advice, Bees. We'll see what happens. Anytime, Megan. You got any questions? Always pose them out to me. I'm happy to help. And like I said, the one thing I'll just lean on when I tell you on this, beyond posting content, it's about staying with it. So many people start up something with this and then give it up very quickly if they don't see the results. And, no one's going to see the results early on. No one's a special unicorn that's going to, blow it up on the spot. You got to kind of earn your way a little bit through it. YHK says, look how many runs the Braves have scored. Yeah, the Braves were absurd today. They were still hitting home runs when they were like up 18-0. The guys were still bombing them out. But that Olsen guy, holy mackerel. Good Lord, that guy's got to swing. He must work out. World of Unicycles, howdy. How you doing, man? It's good to see you in the house. Says, do you think the Mariners will make the playoffs? How would they stand? I think it's going to be very close as far as them making the playoffs. I think what probably gives them a little bit of an upper hand when we come against them, Blue Jays or us, that division I think is a little bit tougher than our division with where the Angels are currently at and where the A's are at. And of course, down the stretch, you end up playing your final games usually are wrapping up against your own division. So I think there's an ever-growing, really good possibility of them making the playoffs. Is it beyond 50%? Maybe a little, I guess, even though they are a half game out, because I think that schedule part will take in eventually. I gotta see where we're at on our schedule with it, but I want to say, let me bring up the schedule here to give you a good answer on this one. Whoops. Standings. Suarez is quickly 1-2 in this count. Both pitchers doing a good job of staying on top of these counts on these hitters. So you go to 1-2 outside, ball 2. If we go to September, we've got the Mets who've been in sell mode. You've got Cincinnati, who's all right. Tampa Bay's pretty good. But then you get the Los Angeles. Well, I guess we do have Texas a bunch and a little bit of Oakland in there. The schedule's actually kind of tough going down the schedule as I look at it now. We're going to get Kansas City for a 4-game stretch. The White Sox mixed in there, but then for every tough series we have, we got an easy series going forward. I don't know, maybe it is 50-50, I guess, as I look at it. They're playing really good baseball, though, and as far as if they get in, I would kind of tend to believe, Unicycles, that when your offense is in this manner they are, where it's just inconsistent, and it's hard to see once you get into October in playoff baseball, this team kind of so reliant on hitting home runs, and it's had so many guys that get strikeouts at such a high rate, of being able to be a team that go out there and really truly contend at that point. Can they get hot? They've shown this stretch of 2 games right now they can get as hot as any team in baseball. But, are they going to be as hot as any team in baseball when they're going into the playoffs? And that's a strike 3 as I'm talking about the strikeout issue. Eugenio Suarez strikes out for out number 1. It's possible, but I certainly would not be putting money on those 2 things being what goes down if they get in. They'll probably get in. They'll be playing pretty good baseball overall, but there are just some limitations to this offense, and good baseball teams, good pitching staffs are going to be able to take advantage of those limitations. Ty France up to plate, takes ball 1. Y2K says Braves 2-0 today. 27-3 overall score. Jeez. Yeah, they ate their Wheaties. France hits this on line, foul, 1-1. Y2K says hopefully the Mets roll over versus us. We're going to need to feast on those lesser opponents that we do happen to play, because there's a lot of tough opponents on the schedule. You have the Rangers. You got a crap ton of games against them at the end of the schedule. You're going to have a couple different series against Houston that's still left on the board. You've got the Los Angeles Dodgers with a series still left on the board. Mariners are going to have to play like legitimately good baseball all the way throughout with that schedule to make this work. Foul back. Megan says, we'll let you know when I'm up and running, B. Sounds good, Megan. Best of luck. Voodoo Magic, how you doing, man? It's good to see you in the house. Y2K says Texas gives us a shot to win the division surrounded by easy games. It does. And there's some easy games in there. There's also some Houston, some Dodgers stuff in there, but there is some A's, there is some Angels. But that's where, if it's coming down to the home stretch and you're within striking distance to the Texas Rangers, you play good for a couple series, you can go win that division at that point. Some of it does depend a little bit on what the Houston Astros do too, and how they're doing going forward. France outside is able to cobble together a walk here on a 3-2 pitch. Nicely done on his part. So the Mariners will have a runner on first. 1 man out here in the bottom of the 4th. Yes. Meow. Meow. Cal Raleigh up the plate. He pumped out his first at bat. Cal lines this down the line, just foul. Boy, he hit that as a rocket down the line. Both Raleigh and France this inning have put some good swings on Irvin. Mariners maybe getting a little bit of a better feel for him here through the second time through the order. Oh, 1 count here to Raleigh. Runner on first, 1 man down. World of Unicycles, his big dumper's been so clutch. He really has. And he's become, I think, the best power hitter at the catcher position in baseball over the last couple of years. You know, and that's very impressive, especially hits another hard ball down the line there. He's all over that pitch. But he is in quickly 0-2 count here. He's a really good catcher behind the dish. You know, calls a fantastic game back there. Real nice, big, easy target for these pitchers. Controls, manages the staff well, it feels like. You know, you don't have a great staff unless you got a catcher behind the dish that's doing that work. And then he gives you this, grade A power for the position. It would be great if he could get himself out of 227, which is where his average resides right now. Cal fights back a tough pitch there. But you already have as just the basis of the player he is as a young player, as this top-end defensive catching guy who also gives you the best power you're going to get from the position in the sport. And, you have to think the Mariners are probably going to be looking at him as we move into the future somewhat soon to try to lock him up as a valuable core member of this team. And he strikes out as I say that. A real tough pitch down on the inside plate there on that breaking ball gets him. And that's 5 strikeouts here for the Orioles. Irvin. But Cal's been good, and he's going to be a part of the future of this team. Teoscar Hernandez up to the plate now. He's 0 for 1. Oh, so they get the low strike, but we don't. Okay. Y2K, I like playing Houston and Texas at the end outside of the Dodgers. I feel we kind of control our own destiny, then get some easy teams sprinkled in. It's a good way of putting it. It's a really good way of putting it. You do have a little bit of your own, you go out there and you kick butt. You got this division. You got a chance. You're in the playoffs. You go out there and you fall flat and you miss the playoffs. You'd, say, hey, we had our chance. We had our shot. We can't say it was some other thing that came up at that point. We just weren't, good enough. That's a good point, man. Very good point. 1-1 count here to Teoscar Hernandez, 2 men down. Hernandez swings and fouls that pitch back. Mega says, B, rewatched Jaws last night for the first time in over 30 years. Want to go back to the beach now? Oh, my goodness. Watching Jaws does not make me want to go back to the beach. That is for certain. It does not make me hearken to go seek the beach. And I don't know. I think that movie still holds up. We got a base hit up the middle by Teoscar Hernandez there. Nice piece of hitting on his part. So runners on first and second. 2 men out. Mariners make a little bit of 2-out noise here. And Y2K, those battles against Texas is going to be Texas and Houston. Yeah, those are going to be some intense fights. Those teams are going to know what's at stake all the way around on that one. Voodoo Magic, I'm an Ohtani 2024 guy myself. I've said I think this team needs to go all in. They need to be willing to spend as much money as any team in Major League Baseball. And if they fall short and he wants to say no, or he doesn't want to do the stepping in the shadow of Ichiro's legacy, to which to him I'd say, you're much taller than Ichiro. You're not going to be in that shadow. You'll go over the top of the shadow. But I think the Mariners is almost a goodwill gesture to the fans. Should put the biggest offer out there. Tom Murphy swings and hits this ball up into the air to right field. Can of corn for him. Out right fielder moves about a foot to his left, and he will make the play. Mariners strand a couple of runners, and we go into the end of the 4th inning with it remaining a 0-0 tie. But Voodoo, I think it's you're gonna come off the end of this season as having now been back-to-back years the most profitable team in baseball. You are set up to go sign a guy in this that could kill two birds with one stone. You have a guy here that I think that there's geographical reasons, if not, you've got a lineage of having pro-Japanese players come through here a little bit that could appeal to him. And I just think the team needs to throw whatever it takes to bring him in. And if he wants to go to the Dodgers because he wants to be a Dodger, or wants to go to the Giants because he be a Giant, if he does, then it's not because you've fallen short by the amount of money you're willing to offer. And I think the fans would accept that at that point if Dipoto can come back and say, look, we offered everything everybody else was offering. He just wanted to go play there. And all you guys can ask of us as fans is us to pursue these guys and recruit these guys and to be willing to pay them the top dollar. And then the free agent's the free agent. He gets to decide at the end of the day where he goes. But if you make no run at a guy, if you just decide right out the jump that, no, the price is going to be too high, we've determined that, that's just not going to be part of our base plan of blah, blah, blah. Give me a break with that. Give me a break with that. And I hope the team does make a move there. It'll be such an interesting thing to track throughout the offseason. It really will, Voodoo. I'll be watching because you bring that guy into the fold here, everything just settles in nicely at that point to me. There's not that has to be the only move you make, and I don't think that would be the only move they make. But boy, it just settles everything down well. The outfield gets settled in. Your rotation gets settled in. You have freedom now to use rotational players at the back in the rotation as young guys coming up as pieces and trades. It will help everything out, I think, and hopefully they do it. Y2 cases, imagine if we sweep the Blue Jays and Cal just continues to destroy them. That would break their heart. Yeah, the Blue Jays are probably already tired of seeing us. But hey, they got the better end of us for a few years, so they can take it now. Mr. Isaac says, hey, what's up, Brandon? How about some Mariners baseball, brother? Cleaned the garage and was trying to connect to 710 Seattle radio and realized you were streaming. Well, thank you, man, for jumping on in. And yeah, I figured I'd get a Saturday night game in. I've been real busy with the football stuff, and I'll be definitely on the football stuff pretty deep here. But wherever I've got a little bit of time, if we get some day games going and whatnot, we'll do some Mariner streams with that too. But I want to try to keep at least the Saturday night games rolling along as I can if possible, man. But thank you for checking it out. Hope the cleaning of the garage is going well. I can sometimes be a hell of a bear if it's been a few years since you've been in there. You're pulling stuff out, you don't know where it came from. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, kitty. We got a 1-2 count here with nobody out. George Kirby weaving a nice little game, pumping 98 mile an hour fastballs up there like it's nothing. Nitro's as big as Australia, though. She's probably going to try. Love Jaws and Bruce the Shark and Finding Nemo was named for the shark and Jaws, named for Steven Spielberg's lawyer. That fits. 98 mile an hour fastball on the outside part of the plate. George gets him swinging right through it. Too much fire, too many flames on that fastball. And the hitter is just left waving at it. George Kirby, 5 strikeouts now. Seemingly getting stronger and stronger as the year goes along. 1 man down. Y2K says, I'm always a fan of watching The Thing every year or two. The Thing's another one. That's another timeless one, man. Those practical effects from back in the day still hold up really well, too. Inside fastball on the black. Hitter didn't like it, but Kirby was just a ton of movement on that fastball. That thing started out on the outside part of the plate and ended up on the black on the inside. Saws him off on the hands. Little pop-up out to Eugenio Suarez, and that will be out number 2. I know, kitty. Hold on. A little textual here. Quickly 0-1 count. Kirby again, just, man, he is great about first pitch fastballs. First pitch strike, first pitch strike, first pitch strike. He just gets these hitters so into that mode of feeling like they got to get the bats off their shoulder quick. Breaking ball here is batted foul, and he's got the guy right in 0-2 count here. France giving chase, but just ran out of room. The thing's great, though. Great movie. Big Country says, howdy, just got back from hiking. How you doing, Big Country? It's good to see you in the house, man. Hope it was a good hike. This game's just cooking along fast. Wu-Tang says, hey, you're doing these again? I was at the game last night. I'm still a little hungover. Well, this ball is just knocked right in front of Kirby there, and he will flip it on over to Ty France for out number 3. Full disclosure, I had myself a couple pops this afternoon as well, so I didn't get too deep in it. Just I was under control and really, really good. But hopefully you're nursing that hangover well out there. And yeah, I'm going to try to do a couple of these. It's going to be hard because we're going to be really hitting the football stuff up this year hard with doing we're going to have 4 or 5 shows a week going on the channel. So doing the extra Mariner stuff here at the end will be tough, but I'll work it in a little bit. We're going to try to kind of shoot for Saturday Mariner streams minimum and try to grow out of it from there if I can even further. Daniel W. says, thoughts on Jalen Carter highlight from the preseason game going viral? I really wish we didn't let the ghost of Blake McDowell hold us back from taking him. Oh, do I suffer? I haven't seen it. Do I open up a window now and do I make myself? Yes, I do. Let's go look at it. Oh, man. Oh, man. Here we go. Jalen Carter. Side, and then he's moving sideways at the same time when he does it. Yeah, that's the move he did back in college. You know, that was the go-to back then, and I definitely, as I kind of said in my initial breakdown of Jalen Carter, that move's going to translate to the pro game. And you know, it's a tough one on this one. I think there is 2 things that can be true on this one at the same time, which is that you can be happy with Witherspoon and support the Seahawks on, you know, making that pick, but you can also still kind of lament a little bit there that, yeah, man, but if we had Carter, maybe, you know, if this kid lights it up and becomes a Hall of Fame-like talent, which is kind of how he looked in college, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt, but I'm not going to go back and say I don't support what the Mariners did on that. We got a 0-2 count here on Dylan Moore, who got himself a double in his first at bat. Both of these pitchers are really, really just pumping the zone tonight. Y2 cases, if we can sign Ohtani, we can trade Wu for a first base bat. That'd be dope. Yep. That's what I'm thinking. You're on long same line that I am with that Y2K. Is that then it frees up a spot in the rotation for you to move one of these young guys that somebody out there is going to value, young, cheap guy, and then you offload that to supplement your lineup wherever that may be. Exactly. Dylan Moore with a swing and miss on a breaking ball right down the heart of the plate. That'll be out number 1. And Irvin now with his sixth strikeout in this game. Haven't even gotten through 5 innings. He is dealing. Came into this game with an over 5 ERA. But when you play in the Baltimore ballpark, let's face it, isn't that kind of standard issue if you're a pitcher in that park? This will bring up Swags. Drips so hard, Haggerty. First pitch swinging. Strike. Megan says, I have their famous Jaws ring theme on my ringtone. Jeez. That's unsettling. This ball is batted on the ground. Shortstop's up with it, and he will quickly throw Haggerty out, and we will quickly have 2 men down here in the bottom of the 5th. So, Daniel, yeah, it's going to hurt a little bit going into the future, I think, on this one. It ain't going to change. It ain't going to change. But we'll see how it goes through the season. We'll see if he can maintain. We'll see if he can, you know, if the off-field stuff eventually does, you know, a guy like that can come in there and light it up and he's going great. And you're like, man, we messed up. We didn't get this pick. And then he's 10 weeks into the season and has his off-the-field issue at the worst of times. And you go, well, that's that thing you got to, you know, does it eventually click in like that too? It'll be the part to monitor. Caballero 0-1, 1-1 now. Both of these pitchers have done just a tremendous job of getting a first pitch strike all the way through. They're showing you the value of doing that throughout this game, how hard it can make it on a hitter to constantly kind of be behind the 8 ball with that. That ball's going to be skied up into the air. Shortstop comes up, and he'll make the catch. I think it was hit really high up in the air. So out number 3, we are through 5 innings, only 3 hits total in this game between the two teams, and no runs scored. Let's see if somebody can kind of pick it up here a little bit. Big Country says it was a good hike. I'm really going to feel sore tomorrow. Good. That's the sign of a good hike. That is the sign of it. YJK says Ohtani, Castillo, Gilbert, Kirby, Miller starting 5. Imagine it. Oh, it's by far the most dominating in baseball, and it's not even close at that point. Arturo, I grew up 2 blocks from the beach. I grew up a few miles from it. I didn't go down the beach as much when I was young, but we didn't get beaches in Washington. Voodoo says you'd figure most of Shohei's salary can be made up on all the additional revenue through tickets, merchandise, etc. This is where I would go with it, Voodoo, is if you've got to try to appeal because there is a profit mentality at play with management. If I'm general manager of Dipoto and I'm coming to them, I'd say, look, you're bringing this guy in who's going to appeal to just simply the local baseball fan base who just loves baseball. It will obviously appeal to the, Japanese contingent that we have here as well. I would think to a degree, in a lot of ways that probably Ichiro did. I don't have a number of how much that bumps up the attendance numbers or the viewership numbers or any of that, but it's got to help. It's got to help. And it's not like they're not going to show their love at times and whatnot. So, yeah, and then you got the merchandise on top of it, Voodoo. I think that it would help to ensure that you're going to keep your attendance numbers up, which makes you feel all the better about spending that money too, because in the future you're going to have, plenty of attendance to fit out that salary. And let's also acknowledge this too with the Shohei deal. The team's really not in any bad contractual situations as it currently stands. You feel fine about the Castillo deal. You feel fine about the Julio Rodriguez deal. Yeah, you're a little bit dicey with the Robbie Ray thing, but you also are going to be going into the 3rd year of that contract and probably in a position to be able to offload that to at least get some team to eat some of the salary at that point this offseason if you got to go in that direction of it. So, and Kirby, another good job here in the top of the 6th with a first pitch fastball for a strike. So there's a lot of ways that I think that this does add up to me, Voodoo, to going out there and making a run at him. And I think it should be the centerpiece of what the Mariners do. If I was them, I'd say we're going to go make a run at him. We're going to recruit him. I'm going to get Ichiro to call him every night. Ichiro just doing, Shohei, Ichiro, not again. I'm telling you, you're the final piece. You're the final piece. Why do you keep calling? I will keep calling until you sign. I'm not even a free agent yet. I don't care. Shohei-san. But you will be. 1-2 count. I can't even believe you got the stick on the ball there. That thing was so inside. It'll be batted back foul. But the team needs to make the run, in my opinion. This is such a no-brainer to do this. There's so many reasons how this adds up and makes sense. The team is in the right place at the right time, right situation, right geographic location. 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. And if they fail with it, they fail. I'll be okay with it. But if they don't make a run at this guy and they're just like, the money's going to be too much. You don't want to spend too much money. It's going to be really expensive. You got a plan. I always love it when you got to trust the process of the plan. Adam Frazier here is hanging tough. Former Mariner. Probably hitting 320 this year. What's he hitting at right now? 241. Okay. So it always angers me when the player can't hit his weight. This ball's hit up into the air high. He got a little bit underneath it. He gave it a good ride, but just a little bit too much lift to it. And that will be out number 1. Looks like he's only hitting 240 this year, though, as Frazier. And that's 240 in Camden. So that'd be like 220, 215 in T-Mobile. Daniel, I checked it out, man. If you're is it the play where he's got the pressure? Very first snap of the, yeah, the pressure play was very impressive. And you do see it from That's what you saw from him on tape. It's that move where he stabs he's basically stabbing the shoulder, and usually he has to come over with a swim move over the top. On that one, he just stabbed him and pushed him out of the way. That's that strength, explosiveness, and the lateral ability that he pairs together with. You know, the really good ones have more than just the one thing they bring to the table that's kind of almost, if not special, very close to being special. But he's going to be a monster for them this year, Daniel. He will. But Megan, you know it's going to come out throughout. I know you're going to get frustrated by it, Megan, but it's going to come up throughout the course of the season. It's inevitable. It's like, you know, talk of Russell. You know, some people get perturbed by it, but it's gonna be one of those things that is going to just come up. People want to discuss it. And I understand it. I'm going to be one of those folks watching. This ball is batted foul, so we've got ourselves a 2-2 count here to the 8-hole hitter Westberg. Kirby flowing through this game nicely. So to start things off, Mr. Isaac says, I don't regret the Carter pick still, hindsight, but that's one play. There are so many red flags. Georgia coaching staff hated him. I'm cool with the spoon. This ball is batted on the ground and thrown out. So 2 down here. Man, this game's going to be over in just over an hour. Holy crap, it's going fast. I'm cool with spoon. We have the potential of 2 shutdown corners. Me too, man. I'm good with what we got. I think that there's a really good chance both players end up being tremendous players in this league. And, you know, I do think that the owners, the front office didn't make their decision on that quickly or easily or too soon with Carter. I think that they did it with a very long process that they thought it through in the interviews and having him in the building. And, you know, I think that they were trying to probably talk themselves into it, but there was just some, as you say, too many red flags. 1-0 count here for Kirby. 9-hole hitter Mateo hits this ball up into the air to right field, and Teoscar Hernandez has himself a beat on it, and he will make the catch. So we will go to the bottom of the 6th inning, and it will remain 0-0. George Kirby only 1 hit through 6 innings. He has been dealing. Matt Wu-Tang says, still upset we didn't get Carter. Not mad at Spoon, but Carter was really just what we needed. Yeah, it's true. I think you kind of sum up the way I stand on it too, where it's would really have loved to have gotten him. I love Spoon. But Carter would have really, I think, have fit the bill in a lot of ways. Megan B, you really hate Jaws that much? Okay, I'll stop teasing you, but it's truly one of my favorite movies. I do know, I just love it. It's great. It's a timeless movie. It holds up. I go every few years and check it out. But it messed me up as a kid, you know. It had me as a kid like, I don't know, you know. It made me a little scared of the water. Just a tiny bit. Megan says, I love Ichiro. Can totally see that. I could see him doing it. If all they got to do is just point Ichiro in the direction and say, go get him, Ichiro. Go track him down like you used to track those balls down in right field. Daniel says, did you see the Felix Hernandez Hall of Fame ceremony? Honestly, never really watched him play, as I didn't watch Mariners baseball at all for that time period. I wish I got to see him playing in his prime with meaning to the games. Me too on the last part. I don't think we ever really got to see that with Felix. I didn't get to see the Hall of Fame ceremony, unfortunately. Just missed it as I was coming to my place here, and I'll eventually go check it back on YouTube and see how it goes. It certainly is well earned for him. I think it was the Mariners Hall of Fame he went into, right? It wasn't the Baseball Hall of Fame. He will eventually go into the Baseball Hall of Fame. A guy that will be known for really beyond how good he was, and he was dominant, and he was one of the great pitchers of his era and the perfect game. It will be, I think, 2 things, being that, you know, you never really got to see him in a position of playing for a contender. The team was bad, you know, throughout the whole course of his career. So it was always a little bit of a, you know, melancholy view of Felix, that this guy's out here balling out of control crazy, and we don't, you know, would he have had another gear if he got in the playoffs? Could he not jumped it up even another notch? You started thinking about stuff like that. And then the second part would be the run support. I mean, I don't think there's been a great starting pitcher I've seen in my lifetime who so consistently got so little run support throughout his whole entire career. It's one of the reasons I got so frustrated this year in watching this team to a point of saying, I can't watch this anymore. I had to watch a Hall of Fame pitcher go through his career and you not be able to formulate an offense that could support him. That's unacceptable that we go 20 years into that and still remains the same problems at play a bit. But Felix was great, and, you know, he's going to deserve his Hall of Fame place. It just sucks he doesn't have more W's on his career record because of the fact that he didn't get that run support. He'd go out there and give up 1 run and throw 9 innings, and he'd lose. It was like that. Kind of like what's happening to Kirby tonight, so to speak. 0-1 count here to Julio. Manages to hold back there, 1-1. Dan says, I wish I would have got to see him playing in his prime with meaning to the game. Yeah, me too, man. I think that would have been I really do think that would have been interesting. I think you might have been able to dial it up another notch. Did they say Julio swung on that? Oh, my God. 1-2. Orioles have made a pitching change here, which may be for the better for the Mariners. Irvin was really rolling tonight. 1-2 pitch, outside, 2-2. Nice job by Julio on this bat, staying away from those outside breaking balls. Makes sense. That's fine, B. Just like you'll get upset with my constant reminders that I'm not a fan of Dave Craig. Exactly. Ball batted down in the hole to the shortstop. Julio running hard. Great play by the shortstop. He was ranging to his right, had to jump in the air and throw the ball back to first base. Hard to get much on those baseball. And you've got Julio who's just burning up the line. Boy, he got some actual real juice on that ball. It's hard to do that when you're jumping back opposite direction of where you're trying to throw it. Very athletic play there by the shortstop. 1 man down now. Eugenio Suarez up to the plate. Suarez, first pitch swinging, knocks to third base. Easy play, out to first, 2 men down. This game's flying along. Daniel W. says, how has Julio's development in year 2 been? Did you expect more? Has it been satisfactory, not good enough? I would believe that I would say that it's been good. He is still 22 at this point, and that's very young for a baseball player. He has found his way through this year. I think there was a bit of a sophomore slump to begin things, and he's really had to kind of carve his way back to get himself up to now where it's 257 with his average of respectability because he was kind of having to fight that uphill road. I think that does speak to the adjustments he's made at the plate to how pitchers were adjusting to him at the start of this season. There's still room for improvement. There's still room for growth. But this is understandable because you wouldn't expect a guy at 22 years old in a second season to be at the end of his being done with his development. And I think when Julio eventually does settle in, I think he'll be probably a 290, 30 home run guy, 285, 290, 30, 35 home run guy as he gets into his prime. But it might take, another year or two to kind of get to that full extent. But he's giving you plenty right now for what he is. And he's, at the end of the day, of the problems in this lineup, Suarez hitting 230, Teoscar Hernandez at 240. Your second base with Colton Wong and the like there, as far as the production you're getting there. Even Kelenic, who I think was drifting down to like 230-ish range. He's not the main problem, and he's a part of the solution in the lineup. And Ty France gets his second walk of the game here with 2 men down. So I've been very happy with where he's going, and I think he's right on line for where I'd expect him to eventually land. We've had some really young guys like Griffey and A-Rod come through here who really became productive at the same age of Julio, and he'll be very closely along to what those guys do when we all look. We look at what they did from 21 to 24. I think Julio will be very similar to those guys. They got to play in a bit of more of a hitter's park than Julio is. And that's got to factor into that a little bit. But I'm perfectly happy with what he's doing. And he's also bringing some really good defense, of course, on top of what he brings to the plate. He's a 5-tool guy in that way. Julio's great. Julio's just fine. Cal Raleigh up to the plate here now. First pitch swinging, hits it off the back of his foot, and he's in a little bit of pain on that one after that. Takes him a bit of a second here to get himself back up. Ow. Raleigh trying to kind of walk it off. That one kind of bounced up in a weird spot too. Oh, no, it didn't. It went right on the top of his foot. Zow. That hurts. He's got the protection on his other leg, but it's that other foot that doesn't have any protection. Cal kind of just stomping down on it. We got the trainer out now talking to Cal. Cal grimacing. Looks like he's going to go back up to the plate here. He'll be all right. It hurts, man. That baseball goes off your foot, your leg. It's not a lot of spots you got on your baseball with a lot of extra flesh to take the burden of the ball when it's coming like that, and you feel it. You feel it. 0-1 count, 2 outs here. Mariners, Orioles tied up 0-0. No score. Runner on first. Raleigh gets ready. Big swing and a miss. 0-2. Rodney says, Brando, the Hawks are going to be good this year. You know it, man. They're going to be very good this year. I think it's a playoff team. Can they get up to being division contender? Yeah, I think it's possible. I'm very, very impressed with what they've done. And I like how they're looking in the preseason, that first game. Firing on all cylinders. It is just preseason. But as far as a good sign, a good first step goes, that's as good as you'll get on a first opening step, I think, to a season. Cal Raleigh's got a 1-2 count now. He smokes this ball down the line. That's going to get down for 2. He hit it so hard, I don't think Ty France is going to have an opportunity to bring this home. He hit that thing on a line. And a great piece of hitting there by Raleigh. He just got that bad head out in front. Nice level stroke. And whipped that bat through the range. Little Ty with those little baby legs was trying to go, but that thing was hit hard. Fielder was able to get to it in the outfield very quickly. So you got second and third now. 2 men out. It's like the Oriole pitching coach is going to come out and have a little bit of a discussion about what they're going to do here to Teoscar Hernandez. William Alexander says, watching Felix versus Adrian Beltre highlights are some of the best ever. They are. Oh, those are great. Those are great. Players love messing with Beltre. The whole head thing, messing with his head. He had a thing about that. There's a lot of funny little cut-up videos on there of, a lot of those guys just messing with him. All right, Teoscar up to the plate. He is 1 for 2 in this game. Has a chance here to bring in 2 very, very important runners potentially. Outside, ball 1, good eye. Y2K says you have to give the front office credit for getting the most out of bad players. Gabby saved the second base spot for a while. Ford carried us for a bit. Marlowe may or may not be good, but he carried us for a bit. Teoscar Hernandez hits this on a line, but the left fielder is able to run on in and pick it just up off the turf there. Hernandez with a nice little stroke there, but just right at the guy. And Y2K, you're right. This has been a year where I think last year you went more to Julio just carried us to that winning streak, and then he was kind of carrying the offense at times when it started to falter. And then he got a little bit at the end, of course, a little bit cold and everything kind of dropped down a bit. But this year it's been more of those role guys coming in and holding it down for a while. And I think your description of it is very apt. Starting with Caballero coming in there second with Colton Wong doing nothing. And you're able to bring Cabby in there, and for a lot of years, hitting 275, 280 in there, which and giving you good plate appearances, putting good contact in the baseball. You have one guy in the lineup not swinging for the fences, and then you have in forward a guy that will swing for the fences. That's obviously our softball player who's on this roster, but he gave you that power there for a couple weeks to keep the offense carried through that time. And yeah, it's been cool to see them kind of have to Find a little from here, find a little from there, find a little from here, and make it kind of work. Rodney says, do you think the NFC Championship game this year? Yeah, I could see the NFC Championship game being within potential grasp. I wouldn't say I would put that's the prediction of where I see the team going. Let me get through preseason a little bit, Rodney. Let me see if they do any kind of final full move there for the defensive line. But they certainly have the potential to be that team. They have the talent to be that team. It's within reach. YUK says Suarez might strike out, but walks and always has a good RISP average, runners in scoring position. He does take singles in clutch situations, I notice. Yeah, he's pretty good with that. Yeah, I go for that mainly. I don't know. On the walk thing, he gets some walks, but he does strike out so much too. So, last year he was up at 196 strikeouts, hitting 236. He's well on his way to that same pace this year. I think his power numbers aren't tremendously down. Down maybe just a little bit. But 320 on base percentages, the walks would look better if the average was a little bit more up there. Kirby's going to continue to come out and work here. He didn't have, I don't think, quite the pitch count that we had with Irvin when he was in here, so they're going to let him run out, I'm sure, at least one more, not a couple more innings. He's pretty low on his pitch count. It's got quickly a 1-2 count here to the top of the order hitter, Rushman. Foul. Big Country, they seem to be trying to get better with lineup construction, though. It shows in their last 2 to 3 drafts. Yeah, they haven't gone as... They went for a while. They're so heavy on the pitchers. It was pitcher. But they have started to slide now into more... We need to get this lineup going. We need to put a lineup together now of major league competent hitters. And we'll have to wait a little bit for that all to kind of pay off for us. But it does sound like you do have some guys en route that... It will eventually pay off for you on that. This is also, though, where you can supplement to me in free agency and find more of the hitters out there, too. This ball's hit on the ground right back to Kirby, and he will first bounce out of his glove, pick it off the turf, and then throw it over to Ty France for out number 1. Daniel says the quarterback school did a breakdown of Drew Lock, and it looked better than I saw with my eyes. Laughing out loud. Also did one for us in the preseason game, and he still can't handle a cover zero coverage. Yeah, Russ was a mixed bag on his performance, and I think the QB school points out a lot of the issues you have with Russ. The anticipation stuff, especially that the QB school talked about there on that. I saw that breakdown. I didn't have a chance to check out the Lock one, but I will look at it because I think JT O'Sullivan does a good job, Daniel, of getting into the parts and pieces of that a bit, of especially the intricacies of the quarterback play. Don't heel click. But yeah, Drew played well. He did. There was some blights. There was some issues. There wasn't all just 100% clean. But overall, it's encouraging and something to build on for Drew as we go into this. The rest of this preseason. But there are still those turnover-worthy plays that occur a little bit too often. Part of me feels like there's a wonder here with me on Drew Lock that he could be this. He could be that guy who can go and have a Geno-like opportunity and he takes advantage of it and flourishes and takes off. Could be. But then he's doing that, and then with that, you also get the guy that 2 to 3 times a game is going to give you some turnover-worthy plays. Stafford's a little bit like this for the most part throughout his career, and Kirby with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball right on the inside part of the plate. He's been dealing all game. Quickly has a 2-2 count here on Satander. So that could be just who he is as a player, Daniel, and I think I'll have a better understanding of this through the end of this preseason if we see more of kind of in full what we saw from Denver. I might be apt, or from this last game, I might be apt to say that's kind of maybe who Drew Lock will be if you have to bring him in and start him for a collection of games. He's got all the NFL talent in the world that you could need, but the decision-making might just occasionally go wonky. And you've got to work around that a little bit as a player if he's going to be your starting quarterback. I'm not there yet with it. We'll give him some more time with it and see if he can roll a little bit better, more forward. 2 outs here, 2-2 pitch. This ball's hit on the ground right to second base, and George Kirby has himself another very, very easy inning of work. Kirby gets through 7 innings now, only 1 hit given up, no walks, 5 strikeouts, seeing his ERA dropping all the way down to 3.15. Let's see if this Mariner team can pick him up here and get him a dub. Get this kid a dub for a great pitched game. He's just looked so good this year as George. My goodness. Megan says, happy left-handers day, B, by the way. The happy left-hander day. So I lift with my left hand. Skylar says, Cabby has not only stolen more than his fair... Sorry, I've had hiccups today. Cabby has not only stolen more than it... Jesus. Wrong pipe or something. Okay, hold on. Am I having a seizure here? Goodness. Helps if you swallow the drink. Skylar says, Cabby has not only stolen more than his fair share of bases, but most importantly, he's stolen my heart. I butchered your whole thing there because my hiccups clicked in. Skylar, I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. I might have to get some water. These hiccups are out of control today. Oof. William says, and Cabby's been good. I like what Cabby's brought. I mean, he's a rotation. He's a lot like Moore would be. Just, this is a utility guy. You don't want him as your everyday starter guy, but he's done some yeoman's work, and we've needed him to be what he's been. Yeah. Not everyone can slug one back, William. Holy crap. It's been off and on all day. Hold on one sec. I'll be right back. All right, y'all, you're going to have to deal with the hiccups. They're not going away. We got a 1-2 count here to Tom Murphy, who's 0-2 on the day. Williams says, although Beltre was the first of those disappointing Figgins, Frazier, and Wong free agent signings. Yeah, he was kind of the beginning of the lineage. Beltre was he was still a good player for us. He played fantastic third base. The issue there with Beltre was really that's an ill-suited player for the Mariners ballpark. And I know I'm a bit of a, broken record on this, but you go and you get right-handed power hitters who strike out a lot. It just doesn't make sense in this stadium to be seeking that out as a general manager. Holy crap. I've got like a awful issue here with the hiccups. So sorry about that, folks, but it's not going away. I tried everything there. Whew, hold on. Oh, goodness, I'm having a hard time over here. Holy mackerel. But yeah, Beltre was just not a good fit for me. He went to the Texas Rangers and went on and, found better batting average, found kind of a third win to his career at that point. And that was a better hit ballpark for him, But Figgins was awful, Frazier, Wong, yeah, those were all just, ugh. Murphy carving himself out a tough little at bat here. He's got a 3-2 count. Nobody out here. Bottom of the 7th inning, 0-0. What would announcers do when you're doing play-by-play and you start getting the hiccups? It never happens. I wonder if they're just like, they ask their analyst guy, you pick it up for an inning. All right, Tom. Bats this ball foul-ish. Maybe the player will play on it. Nope, not quite. Still remain 3-2. Big country. Nelson Cruz was terrific here. He was good. That's true. That was one that did kind of work. Broken clock and all that big country, Skyler says, I'll do some research, but I recall Suarez home run per at-bat ratio over the last 5 years is in the top 5 active players, something to that effect. Anyway, he's definitely a strikeout artist, though. Oof. Yeah. Both those things are true, and I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if you have a couple of those guys in your lineup and maybe to get power, and Murphy does a good job of drawing a walk here. Maybe you get power in the lineup at times. That's kind of a bit of the price you have to pay to do that. I can go with that a bit, Skyler, but if you proliferate your lineup with guys like that, and you've got tons of right-handed guys and tons of pull hitters and tons of strikeout guys, and they're home run heavy, and they're not really guys they're going to try to go with it the other way, well, then you're going to have problems scoring runs. And I think that's been at a forefront issue for them, why they've had those issues like they have had. Suarez has been a good player for us. He certainly was the best part of that trade between him and Winker by a mile, and he's been great. It's more of just the whole construction of the lineup itself rather than just him. Dylan Moore gets up underneath this ball, gives it a nice ride, but he's going to hit to the deepest part of the park. Murphy quickly getting back to first base. So one man down here. Murphy on first. Bottom of the 7th. Grug says, Brandon, who are your picks to win NFL awards this year? Oh, I'll give you some here. I think I did good, by the way. I got Bosa last year. I think that was my defensive player of the year. MVP, huh? Who do I got as the MVP this year? It's got to be a quarterback, right? It's got to be a QB. I'll have to come back to MVP. I'm not sure on the answer with that one. You never can go wrong with just saying Patrick Mahomes, but I'm trying to be more creative than that and come up with a better. But how about, okay, Herbert. Justin Herbert is my MVP. Marlowe up to the plate now. He's going to pinch hit for Haggerty here. Haggerty dripping too hard for service tonight. Says we got to put you on the bench, man. You dripped to an 0-2 hole on us tonight. And we got a quick 0-1 count here on Marlowe. So we'll go Herbert for MVP. My defensive player of the year, let's go with Micah Parsons out there in Dallas. My offensive rookie of the year. Bijan Robinson. 0-2 count here. Tom Murphy gets his lead from first. Swing and a miss. 1-2-3. Right down is Mr. Marlowe, and that will be 2 outs in the inning now. And Caballero is going to get pinch hit for Mr. Ford. Ford chugs himself a beer in the dugout, gets that softball body up to the plate. Let's see if he can make some damage happen. Have a good night, Megan. We'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll be streaming tomorrow on the other side, on the cool side of the pillow. Y2K Suarez had a good D and is on OP team friendly cheap contract. I don't think third base is the upgrade spot for next year. I agree. I don't think it has to be a place they look to target either. I think you're creative in your approach. You're looking for impact bats. You're looking in a couple of places to help this team out. There's some straightforward places that certainly stand out, like a first base, right field, second base, sure. But if you come to find that third base is the one where you can find the truly impactful point, that contract and his production within it also allows you to have a guy that is, you're talking about moving him. Let's say you go get a third baseman, Y2K, and then you package Suarez and you package one of your young pitchers because you signed an Ohtani. Now you can go get another player for another position, for one of those second base spots or one of those other first base spots. So there are some creative ways. I'm not saying that it's at the forefront of what I would want to do. But as we saw last season, you can come into an off season and have spots you want to fill and spots you have the intention of filling with impactful players, and those players are just not available. Those players for those positions are just not available. And that's the one, I think, hard part here with necessarily just targeting and saying, okay, we'll get right field, we'll get second base, we'll get first base, and bing, bam, boom, we're good. That'd be great as an ideal, but I think you're going to have to probably end up getting a little bit more creative. Y2K says Kirby is 7 innings in and only has 75 pitches. Holy smokes. Yeah, he is cruising. Everything's been a first pitch strike all day. TJ says Kirby pretty much has a perfect game, faced minimum. Pretty much. I mean, there was that one little single hit that he gave up. Everything else, he's been just dominant. They haven't even been able to even put any good swings on the pitches. Adam says, as a Jays fan, never thought I'd say this, but go Orioles. No, Adam. No. Y2K says, Williams says Cano had some decent numbers for a few, but not that salary. Yeah, but then too, you're signing Cano at that point when your team wasn't really put together to, go out there and really compete. It was a flashy signing. It was a signing that was going to help you maybe sell some tickets, but it was obviously a contract in the moment when you signed it. You knew it was going to be a bad one. And the team wasn't really in a position of, this is the guy to put us up over the top. Like an Ohtani, to me, puts you up over the top. You have more of a supporting cast in place that's way more stronger than it was at the time when you signed Cano. Not to mention, I believe that Ohtani's much younger than Cano was, or at least a couple years younger than Cano was when he signed his deal. And he was decent, but there were some problems there too with that salary and that contract and the time of the signing on it. At least with Cano, you went for the lefty. I'll say that. It wasn't a right-handed power hitter. Mike Ford up the plate here for the Mariners, hitting .221 on the season with 11 home runs. Hoping they can get themselves a bomb here. Quickly takes a 1-0 pitch. Strike. We got lefty on lefty here. Orioles have gone to their bullpen quite a bit since they left Irvin. This is now their third reliever here in the bottom of the 7th. Outside. Ball 2. Greg says Jalen Carter had a great preseason game. I hate bringing up Carter, but it was bound to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's inevitable throughout this season. Wavy Hurts. I thought about Hurts as an MVP. I think he's not going to be quite that productive, in my opinion. Ball's hit on the ground, right to the first baseman, who picks it up and walks and steps on the first base bag for out number 3. So the Mariners leave another one on base and find themselves still tied up 0-0 here. I did think about Hurts wavy, but I just can't get to Hurts as a. I'm not a hater of Hurts. I'm just not a big, supporter of him either. I think he's a little manufactured in his production. He could certainly put up enough numbers between throwing and running to do it, but I feel like he's going to come down to earth a little bit this year. Greg says MVP Herbert. You got Justin Jefferson as the offensive player of the year, defensive rookie of the year, Micah, Bijan, and Jalen Carter's defensive rookie of the year. There we go. Comeback player of the year, Jamal Adams. I like it. I love it, man. I love it. You got some ones that are similar to me, but all those are good suggestions. Goodness gracious, I'm having the worst hiccups I've had here in like a couple of years at this moment. Like, holy shike. Skyler says the Beltre signing hurt extra because he was coming off a tremendous season for LA and we bought him hot. So when he didn't have near the impact his payday suggested he ought to, it stung a bit. It did. And yeah, he came off, I think, he had like 51 home runs, I think, at the year when you signed him. It was some insane mark like that he had put together. But yeah, that was one that hurt. You went with the Beltre and Sexton, and it's again back to don't fill the lineup full of right-handed power hitters that strike out a bunch. It really kind of simply comes to that. You can have a couple of these guys, but you fill your whole lineup out with a bunch of these guys in this stadium, and it's really not a tough equation. You're not going to score enough runs. And it's one that I've watched so many general managers as a mistake make over and over again. And I don't know if we just end up with these general managers that are just like that old Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, chicks dig the long ball mentality of things, right? I don't know if it's that. But then the other end of it, that they refuse to move the fences up. So it's so strange where you want to go for these power hitters, but then you're going to still put them in this park where 10, 15 home runs a year are going to get batted down by the wind, batted down by the marine layer, batted down by the long fences that go back forever when you're standing there up at the plate. And that's the part that just drove me crazy. Just doesn't make any sense. So you can sign one, couple, but the whole lineup, everybody, you got like 3 guys that are your typical hitters you'd like to have aligned to this stadium and this field. George Kirby continues to work really well here. He's got an 0-2 count quickly here to the 4-hitter Mountcastle in the Orioles lineup. Kirby's only given up 1 hit, no walks. He has been tremendous. Greg says, boy, we have very similar lists. Great minds think alike, Greg. Great minds think alike. Kirby with the 0-2 pitch here. Sweet. And a miss. 97-mile-an-hour fastball at the top of the zone. That'll get it done. Thing just kept rising and rising and rising. It was getting to the plate. Holy mackerel. Great pitch there by Kirby. Skyler, Hurts Donut. Hurts Donut. Yeah, I just don't think I'm kind of, for those folks maybe not as much aware with me on Jalen Hurts. I think he's a manufactured quarterback. I think he's a lot like Lamar Jackson is in the way he plays the game and like Cam Newton played the game. He's just a guy that happens to have a good go ball throw to me. He can throw a nine route and this ball's second pitch swinging up into the air. Julio will go ahead and take it over. And we got quickly 2 down here in the bottom of the 8th. That's my issue with looking at Hurts as an MVP candidate. I don't really think of MVP candidates, and maybe I should, because we've had Lamar, we've had Cam Newton win MVPs in the past, running that kind of manufactured offense for quarterbacks thing, where it's a lot of RPO stuff. It's a lot of, well, if you get the 8th man in the box, take your shot over the top with a 9 route. It's very simplified, and I just do feel like a team will eventually kind of adjust to that and shut that off a bit and take that away from a player. Some of it is that they're so talented that they can run it that way because they're strong across the board. But a couple of injuries, teams starting to do a couple of wrinkles to adjust to what Jalen Hurts does on his side of it. I just don't think he's going to be, MVP level effective. I could be wrong, and I'm alone on this one a little bit. And we got a base hit out to right field here with 2 men down. But I can't get aboard the Hurts boat. Wu-Tang says Hurts is great, but he's got so much around him that makes him good. Great line, great weapons, great defense. He's not quite on the Mahomes or even Burrow, Allen, or Herbert level. Agreed. Very good quarterback. Good quarterback, but he's just not on that same kind of level, I don't think. Dan says, wow, we're rolling with Kirby in the 8th. Let's go, Kirby. Let's go, man. Still going to let him ride here with a runner on. I love it. Adam Frazier up to the plate. Strike out this little sucker. The pitch switching is lame. Oh, with so many Oriole bullpen guys. Yeah, it's kind of... He was dead. The coach was definitely taking control that last inning. 1-0 count. Runner on first here. Kirby in the stretch. Ball foul back. And bed there, you're right, man. They didn't have any trust in their pitchers. Had to go to the lefty-lefty matchup for Ford. It worked, but okay. Orioles want this one. Ball's hit on the ground. Gathered up by the second baseman. That'll be out number 3. So George Kirby putting together an absolutely righteous pitching performance here. 8 innings, only 2 base hits, 6 strikeouts, no runs. Very efficient. Not on top of not walking anybody. I mean, he's not throwing any balls in this game. Everything is a strike. Everything. And fantastic game thrown by him here. And hopefully the Mariners can make this stand up. Julio Rodriguez will be the opening batter in the next inning. So the Mariners do turn over the lineup. But they need to get some runs for this guy. Williams says it still kills me how often we can't score with men on third and no outs. Yeah, me too. You look to this game, and in that moment, you go back to this game where you've got a guy on the third, and this has been something I've seen this Marin lineup going back for 2 decades now. Since you won with 115 wins, playing that style of baseball, you've not ever done it, and it just you see it bite the team on the butt again and again. Where it's guys up there, all he's got to do is put it in play, get the bat on the ball, find something. I believe it was Caballero early on in the game, and instead you end up striking out. And it's that one run right here. How big would that be? You'd be able to bring in your closer on the 9th and shut this thing down, and Kirby's got himself a win. But it's the same kind of old story with this Mariner team. It's the frustrating part with them when it comes to when they don't win. It's always seemingly on the back of the offense not getting the job done. But it's tied up. We got room here to make something happen too. Let's go Mariners. Wu-Tang says, fitting that this is on Felix's night. That's maybe the best comment all night, said Wu-Tang. It's very, very apropos that this is happening on Felix's night. As somebody was asking me earlier in the chat about watching him play, it's the number one thing number 2 thing you jump to with him is you didn't get to play with a contender, and this is the all-time, I think, in Major League Baseball history for pitchers who just could not get run support throughout the course of their entire career. He was the guy. He would be George Kirby. This pitching by George tonight is exactly what you'd see from Felix. Just lights out, dominant, and your lineup not able to pick him up. Nobody out there, just all you need is that one run. Just grind me out one stinking run. Y2K says, I think GMs are kind of feel they get stuck with right-handed power hitters like we want left-handed hitters. It just never pans out. I mean, maybe with that, I think you got to take a purposeful approach to it. You've got to target guys that you're going to hold in higher value than other teams because they are those guys for this, lineup. And you can go with right-handed hitters too, Y2K, but then you got to find the guys that can hit for average or can get on base that are not going to strike out as much. Favor guys that are going to hit the ball in play in this particular stadium. Julio first pitch swinging right down the line. This is going to roll foul. Julio's been really aggressive today at the plate. First pitch swinging, I think, in just about every single at bat. And maybe he just thinks I'm only going to get one fastball. I got to swing at it when I get it. YGK says, I'm rocking Kirby out in the ninth no matter what. Yeah, he's still pretty low on his pitch count, right? I might be tempted to go to the bullpen, but it seems like his fastballs are losing a little bit of pop last inning. It's getting off a 98 down to kind of 96. Gave up a base hit last inning. Maybe they're starting to kind of turn things a little bit around with him on that. Julio swing and a miss 0-2 on a sweeping slider across the plate. Grug says, Bob Condotta posted a tweet pretty much saying that we passed on Carter due to us signing Dre Jones, which I think is preposterous if true. Agreed. It's preposterous. One of those things should not affect the other. And it doesn't add up too, Grug. It doesn't add up. Like that Bob Condotta quote is BS, and I'll tell you why. Another sweeping slider. This time Julio is able to hold back. The reason that that's BS, Grug, is because we know with 100% certainty that the Seahawks were trying to sign Cardinal free agent Zach Allen to very close the same deal that we were going to sign Draymond Jones. He ended up signing basically the same deal with Denver. Julio digs this one out and hits it deep to center, but not deep enough. That will be an out number one. So if it's the truth that you're not going after Carter because of Draymond Jones, then why were you going after Zach Allen after signing Draymond Jones then? So Condotta doesn't, I'm sorry on that one. Condotta doesn't know what he's talking about, or that's just pure spin by the team. William Alexander says Holiday, I think, had a ton of 1-0 losses. That sounds about right, William. Felt like he had some more, at least, consistent offenses come through there during his time. You know, there were some brutal moments, but it did feel like he had some time there too where they were respectable, and that stadium was a little bit, with its AstroTurf and all that, a little easier on hitters. Hey, Eugenio Suarez, 0-1 here with one man down. Swing and a miss on a fastball, 0-2. Bet Dare says, Mariners, come on. Blast that sucker. Get it done. Get it done. Come on, Eugenio. We need one of your clutch shots here. Outside. Ball 1-2. Outside. Good eye. Ball 2. Man, the Orioles going to their bullpen and we might see the whole Oriole bullpen tonight, especially if this thing goes into extra innings. Outside. Ball 3. All right, Eugenio. You know he's not looking to walk you. You know you're going to get a fastball here. He's suddenly not finding his place here with the slider. I'd be sitting dead red fastball and look forward to a spot in the plate. See if I can drive it. Outside. Ball 4. Good walk there by Eugenio Suarez. The hiccups seem to have gone away, William. Those were brutal for a moment there. I thought I was going to maybe have a heart attack and have you guys have to call somebody. Y2K says, we really destroyed our bench last inning. I don't know if that was worth it, especially if this thing goes to extra innings, man. First pitch swinging by Ty France. Drug on the ground. It's where France this year has been a bit of a different hitter to me than he's been in prior years. Much more willing in prior years to go with the pitch, get the fat end of the bat on the pitch, and just send it into right field from time to time. A lot more this year of him trying to really drag everything and he's just trying to pull everything at times in his approach to the plate. Inside. And it looks like it hit. Did France get hit again? He's not even sitting on the inside part of the plate. Holy crap. Thank you for subscribing, Florida Hustle. Appreciate you on that. He's not even sitting on the inside part of the plate. These guys just miss and hit him. He must have magnet for the ball or something. Francis hit every game I watch. I think he leads the league in hits. All right. Thank you for subbing up too, by the way. Appreciate you out there. You're awesome, Florida Hustle. We got runners first and second, one out, bottom of the 8th inning here. Get this runner in, then we can bring in our closer. Kirby gets the dub. Cal Raleigh up to the plate, the big dumper. Man like Eugenio that's shown himself to be pretty clutch here in recent years. Nitro Brand almost had to say his address while dying. Bet Dares says that's what they get for switching pitchers. Over managing BS, right, man? You're going to be an over manager, huh? You're not going to let your players just play? The baseball gods will punish you. Raleigh, low. Good eye there. First pitch, ball. And it's kind of obvious going to your point on that bet, Dare, going into the bullpen to Cano here. You might have gone a little bit too deep with this one. He seems to have really kind of, see if we can rediscover it, but he has lost his control here over the last couple of batters. 1-0 pitch to Raleigh. Raleigh got a good one there, and he just got underneath it. Pokes it out to left field. Left fielder's underneath it. He will easily make the catch, and that will be out number 2. Raleigh had a good one there. He had a good one. He was just missed it there. It's like he was locked in on that pitch and everything. All right, Teoscar Hernandez, 1 for 3 in this game with a single. We'll come up now with 2 outs. Mariners looking for a base hit to try to plate Suarez, take the lead. And that ball's hit on the ground. Pitcher's up with it. He will throw it over to first base for the out. And that will finish us up in the 8th inning. So we go to the 9th. Tied up, 0-0. So frustrating. It is, Nitro. This is where you get to in that spot where I talked about earlier in the year, where it's hard for so many of these games to always seemingly go this direction of things, where you're just pitching is so magnificent, your offense is so inept on the other side of it, and then it's a wash, rinse, repeat of a story every game that you watch at times, the Mariners with it, and it gets frustrating. It gets frustrating, and there's not a whole lot I think they could have done at the trade deadline to really get further than where they are, and it's something that I hope that they do look to truly take care of this offseason in a major way, and I think that they probably will. Hope they will. Please, God, do so. Got the 8-9 one-hitter up for the Orioles. Might give Service a little bit more of a willingness to trot Kirby out there in the 9th. If he can get those first 2 guys punched out. William Alexander, do they have a stat for run support? They got all these other advanced stats in baseball. Do they got one for the pitchers on the run support item side of it? Be kind of cool if somebody did come up with that stat. Joe Novas says, who wins, guys? Mariners are going to win. We just might have to wait till like the 13th or 14th inning for it to happen. Dukan Quack says, just got back from my rehearsal dinner listening to this, and I'm finishing up my vows. Nice, man. Nice. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. I hope it goes off without a hitch. And, it's as a great a day as you expect it to be. It should be. Big Country, we got to face Felix Bautista in the bottom of the 9th. Not a great matchup. Yeah, not great. Not great. Not ideal. All right, Kirby's out there. He is going to come out right from the beginning of things here. And a quick base hit, it looks like, right up the middle. Eesh, don't like to see that. Runner quickly on first here. And Kirby, frustrating, looks back and takes a big sigh. Service is going to stick with the young kid, though. See if he can fight his way out of this. Just a little ground base hit right up the middle, man. Nothing super hit hard, just right on down with it. Appreciate you listening, Ducon. And it looks like Mariners might make a change here. Pitching coach is coming out. I could definitely support making a change here. You don't want this decision making driven by the fact that you're looking to get him through the inning to get him a chance for a win. You make this decision because where is he at right now? Where's his stamina at? Is he starting to kind of, hold back here a little bit? He's given up 3 hits in this game. He's given up 2 hits over the last inning. And so that would be a little bit of an indicator to me as a manager of maybe I want to lean into that direction of calling the ball. But then Service is also looking at this being the 9th hitter and going, he can get the 9th hitter here. He can get a roll. He can get a double play ball here. I do think this is probably going to be his last batter, though. Joe at Novas says, "You sure, bro? It's for my bet. You trust on the Mariners?" No, don't be. You didn't tell me. You didn't tell me at the front that there was a bet on the line. No, we got no offense rolling tonight, man. We've neither team has put very strong a swing on any pitches, and so I would not feel confident about making a bet on this particular one. 1-0. Inside 2-0. See, I think Kirby's just kind of pinpoint all day, not giving me base hits all day. There's a little bit of signs here on this that it's just, I think he's probably getting a little tired, which is understandable. Orioles pinch hit here with Henderson up the plate. You're not even getting the true 9 hitter. Well, you got lucky there. Hitter swung at a bad bitch. 2-1. YK, we definitely could add another 100 WRC-ish bat on a 1-year rental for cheap. Other teams did it. Like your number 15th to 20th ranked prospect seems to be the cost. Yeah, you can pull it off. It ain't gonna. This is where you can deal with this offensive issue from a variety of places. It doesn't just have to be a whale that you bring in that fixes everything. 2-1 count here for Kirby. Runner on first, nobody out. Top of the 9th inning. Game tied 0-0. Kirby comes set. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. 2-2 count. William Alexander says, like year to year and career run support overall, that would be interesting to compare to a pitcher's ERA. It would, William, wouldn't it? I mean, they've got all these other whip, fips, dips, lips, nips. They got all these other acronym advanced analytic tools they use. That would be one that I think could be very interesting, William, as just to have it as an extra stat to look at with a pitcher and kind of going, was this guy always feeling like he had to, especially because you could go with a guy like Felix, a guy probably always had to feel like he had to kind of pitch perfectly, right? There was no room for error. Kirby's got this count quickly to 3-2, and he's on the edge of this being a problem here. For a guy who's not walked anybody all day long, you don't want to put the first two hitters, the bottom of the order hitters, on base as you're about to turn over the lineup here for the Orioles. 3-2 count. Swing and a miss. Runner going. Safe. Strikeout, and Tom Murphy put a good throw on it to second base, but the runner had a good jump, and he will get out to second with one man down now. Just fastball down Main Street, and Henderson swung right through it. Murphy put as good a throw as you could ask for there, just too good of a jump. Bet there says Mariners going 0 home is crazy. It is nuts. Kirby back out there again here. They're going to keep him out and keep him rolling. First pitch, breaking ball, strike to Adley Rutschman, who is 0 for 3 with a strikeout and 2 groundouts. Skyler says run support stats are fitting given it's King Felix weekend. I wonder what his winning percentage would be if every game he lost. Swing and a miss. Strike 2, 0-2. I wonder what his winning percentage would be if every game he lost 0-1 would wash out. It would definitely move that needle. Oh, it would. Yeah. 0-1, 2-1s. I'd love to see where he was at in his career on that, Skyler, because I think you would find with him a pretty extreme. I think the Halladay comp somebody made is maybe another pitcher that was like that, but I think with Felix, he'd be about the most extreme you'd find. Ooh, Kirby with a nasty inside pitch, and the ump did not call it a strike. Man, that thing was right there. The ball tracer, I guess, does technically have it just inside off the plate, but that one looked pretty tenderloin. 1-2. Oh, come on. Come on. Oh. Umps are selling on us right now. Oh, come on. That bat's through. That's through the zone. 2-2 count. Foul back. Williams says, but the run support stat should be only the runs scored while on the mound, not the end of games runs. Correct. That's where it would be hard to track it, William, but you'd have to have it that way. Only when he was on the mound. Because you're looking to get the data to tell you something specific there within it. Specifically about where was his mentality a little bit and how he had to pitch if he was under a little bit of a 2-2 pitch here from Kirby. Ball 3. Couldn't get the breaking ball over. But I can tell you about where he was from a stress level and all that as far as you've got a pitchers. We've seen many of them when they feel like they can't make a mistake. It will change the style by how you pitch, how aggressive you are. 3-2 count, 1 man out, runner on second. Top of the 9th. Batted ball up the middle. Shortstop's on it, and he will throw him out. Does Dylan Moore there, so that will be out number 2. Kirby continues to pitch himself one hell of a game here. This kid has certainly earned the dub today. Bet Dare says, Umps leaving Seattle tonight. Yeah, they better leave under protection at this rate. Brandon Schutz, how you doing, man? It's good to see you in the house. I'm doing great myself. Cedric Mullins up to the plate now, 2 outs. Mullins, 2 strikeouts on the day today. Ooh, that ball went up a little bit high. Ball 1. Hope you're doing well out there, Brandon. Kirby comes set. Runner on third, 2 men down, top of the 9th. Ball's hit up foul. 1-1. Kirby still getting up to about 97 on the gun there. Pretty darn impressive. We got 96 there on that one. We had 97 on the previous. Just crossed 100 pitches here in the 9th inning. Such an efficient performance today. 1-1 count. The wind and the livery. Swing and a miss. Got back up to 97 on that one. 1-2. Hitter just could not catch up for it. Got a meaty part of the plate. But there's so much movement on that pitch running left to right on that left-handed batter. And you could see where Mullins swung. He swung where the ball was at prior to it, moving with the horizontal kind of movement to it. 1-2. Everyone in the stadium up on their feet. Can Kirby finish this off? A magnificent pitching performance. And that ball's hit up into the air. This will be playable. And that will be an out. George Kirby will make the catch, and I think it's fitting he makes the catch in foul territory. Kirby pumped up. Slapping hands, slapping gloves. You love to see the fire from the kid as he wound himself one hell of a gem tonight. 9 innings, 3 hits, 7 strikeouts, no walks, worked himself out of trouble at the end. He had his most difficult inning at the end. The kid is just loaded for bear for the future with him. We love this rotation. We feel so good about it. And it's because these kids are going to be dominant pitchers in this league. And he already is there at the 3.11 ERA he's now at after this game today. When I went live last week, he had also pitched himself one hell of a game on that one in addition to it. But Kirby, you've just got to tip your cap to him today. He was pumping the zone, throwing strikes, not wasting pitches. He only crossed the 100-pitch mark once he was into the 9th inning. That's pretty ridiculous. And hopefully this Mariner team, batting-wise, can now maybe make this stand up. You go out there, you get a run here this inning, you win this game, you get the kid a dub. And that would be tremendous to be able to reward him for what was an absolute just nails performance. And he's had some good ones this year, but this might have been the best of his bunch. Nitro says, please don't mess up this game, please. Voodoo Magic says, walk-off home run, Marlowe. That would fit to type. You know what I mean? I'm with it. We got Murphy, Dylan Moore, and Haggerty, or Marlowe is up. So those are your 3 hitters in the next inning. Big Country says Kirby has put himself in the Cy Young race. I think he has. Yeah, with the recent level of dominance he has. I mean, I think he's going to start to get, more of that pub for being that, I think, Big Country. And as well he should. He has had an absolutely just kind of a quietly awesome season. It's been really good, but it's been getting bit by bit better and better and better, it feels like, as we get through the later stages of the year. Bet Dare says, can you imagine a bases loaded grand slam? I can imagine, and I'm hoping now. I'm hoping and I'm imagining. Imagining and I'm hoping. Kirby giving him M and F-er there. I kind of think that the Kirby was mad about the base runner, but the base runner got in the way of Ty France to kind of mess with France so that France couldn't come up and help make that catch. And I think that's what, I think the M&F-er, that's who I think Kirby was M&F-ing. He was M&F-ing the base runner. There was kind of a dramatic lockup between France and the base runner. Well, we are getting Felix Bautista, and it's not King Felix, it's just Felix Bautista, who is the closer here for this Orioles team, a 1.66 ERA, flamethrower. He's got some great stuff. It's not going to be an easy path here for the Mariners here in this 9th inning. But let's see if they can make it happen. Felix standing up on his feet, looking on intently from his place. Celebrated tonight, shaking his head. You can see the frustration on Felix for Kirby and the run support. Just going, ugh. Tom Murphy, first pitch swinging, 99-mile-an-hour fastball, batted back, foul, 0-1. 0-1. Murphy with a walk today, 0 for 2 otherwise. Bautista comes set. Murphy wiggling that bat inside. Good eye there. Another 99-mile-an-hour fastball right down on the inside portion of the zone, but a ball. 1-1 count. Bautista comes set. He's very, very labored in his process, running that pitch clock all the way down to 0. 101-mile-an-hour pitch on that one. Murphy bats it out to right field in the air, and it will be quickly gathered in for out number 1. It's hard to hit a 101-mile-an-hour fastball. That's tough. That's tough. Y2K says, bring Kirby out for the 10th. Maybe. Maybe he's only thrown 101 pitches. I think we're seeing Munoz next inning. Dylan Moore, 1 for 3. Had a nice double to lead off the 3-hit brigade of the Mariners tonight. Oh, Felix gave him a breaking ball there. 0-1 for the strike. Moore sitting on the fastball. It's tough with Bautista because you just want to hold up on that fastball. It's enough to try to get that thing turned around. If he starts dropping in breaking balls on top of it, that makes it tough. Moore bats at foul, quickly 0-2. Gruggs says, Carter said he studied the Ravens offensive linemen that he would face off against and knew how to beat them instantly. Doesn't sound like a lack of work ethic to me. It's okay. It's okay, though. Witherspoon will be the best corner duo of all time. There we go, man. There we go. We got to embrace it, I think, a little bit. And there's going to be Seahawks fans that have a hard time with it throughout the year as far as going back and, well, how's he doing? What is he doing? But I think the comparisons are inevitable. And Grug, I'm going to embrace him. I don't get frustrated by him. I think it's interesting to track, and we should track it. What if you'd gone this alternative approach? 1-2 count here to Dylan Moore. Swing and a miss. Is that a little when he threw my cutter there? I don't know what the hell that was as far as the pitch goes. It wasn't quite looking like a breaking ball. Had too much kind of snap to it. But had Dylan Moore fooled kind of that hole at bat. Quickly 2 men down. Skyler says, Scott, trusting George to finish that was not only the right call, but it plays into helping establish that kind of trust you need to have in the clubhouse. Love to see it. Beautifully put. 100-mile-an-hour fastball right down at the bottom of the knees and the inside part of the plate for strike on Cade Marlowe. 0-1. Felix is looking tough as ever tonight. You're not getting a on his B game, on his B roll closing pitcher tonight in Batista. He's throwing the flames and he's hitting his spots. Inside, almost hits Marlowe there, 1-1. Beautifully put, though, Skyler. I'm a big believer in not only just the building the trust, Skyler, but to build the mental strength. I don't want you looking for your bullpen to bail you out when you get into the 6th inning or 7th inning. I want you to want to be toughening under on that, knuckle down. 1-1 count, and Marlowe swung right over the top of the breaking ball. Batista's just been really, really good here in this inning. He's keeping the Mariner hitters off balance. They got to load up for that 100-mile-an-hour fastball, but he's working in the breaking pitches and he's hitting his spots with it. 1-2. But I love to see it from that realm too, Skyler. It's a good, smart as Scott. That's where the analytic folks say, well, you got to take him out now. No. This is where old school baseball still rules today. I'm building to something that's not just about today, but moving forward with this kid. Outside, ball 2, 2-2. Good eye here by Marlowe. Joa Novus. Mariners win for sure. I told you, man, I don't have any. I can't give you a certain answer on this, Joa. It's everything's really tight right now. And it looks like we might be going into extra innings here with 2 men down. That ball's hit, base hit, out into right field by Marlowe. He's going to take a nice little turn. Good piece of hitting there by Marlowe. Nice, smooth, level stroke there. Punched it out to right field. And the Mariners got a runner aboard. This brings up the 9th hitter in the order. Which will be the newly acquired Rojas. Lefty on righty matchup here, just as we had a second ago. You like that part of it. See if Rojas can endear himself to Mariner fans here with a base hit. First pitch running from Marlowe. He will be safe over there on the stolen base. Strike called. Marlowe now finds himself in scoring position, and how wonderful would it be for the Mariners to win this game on small ball? Not a home run, but just get a base hit, played him, and then that's how you show. That's how you show them how you can play small ball in this stadium. You can manufacture a run. Ooh, yikes! They may challenge this. Looked like when he flipped his foot up that he might have gotten off the bag when he flipped his foot up. The tag was on it. Let's see. I can't see the freaking... Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they might call this one back. Looks like the glove remained on the player. Marlowe's slide took him across the bag. He slid late. And the late slide took him off the back of the bag. He flipped his feet off the bag for just a second, and he couldn't keep he couldn't keep like a hand on the bag to touch. I think they may... This angle will show it right here. Boom. Yeah, he's out. That's an out. I'd challenge that for the Orioles, and that's going to be an out. So, third out of the inning. We're going into extra innings, folks, as Marlowe was indeed thrown down the plate. Just couldn't. The slide took him through the bag there a little bit too far. Nitro, how close to Jerry Rice do you think Largent would be with Montana? If he got to play with the level of quarterback that Jerry did, I think that he puts up more yards. I don't think that Largent was going to play, Jerry almost played like a second career worth of games. I don't know with where Largent was with his health situation. He'd been beat up pretty good. I don't think he was necessarily a place where he could play another 5, 6, 7, 8 years, even if he had the great quarterback play around him. So he would have added probably another, 4,000 or 5,000 yards on him if he had a really great quarterback like that. If he had a Bill Walsh, I think you got to add in the Bill Walsh part of that too, Nitro. Is if you give him Bill Walsh and a Joe Montana throw him the ball, he's probably adding another 3,000, 4,000 on there onto his career total. Probably another, 35 touchdowns, 40 touchdowns. Greg, especially if we can somehow figure out a trade here or strike gold in the draft next to shore up our D-line, we're in business. That's for sure, Greg. That's for sure. That would really forgive passing on Carter. It would. And I think the good news here, Greg, is that when you look at the next year's draft, early on, it does appear that there is going to be some good selections out there to maybe go out there and take advantage of as far as the defensive tackles go. Yeah, he was out. It took him like 30 times of replaying it before they finally showed us the right angle. Jose Ignacio Reyes Tartowski. Wow, first 0-0 of the year. I think this is the first one. I, of course, was in that stadium last year in the playoff game that saw the Houston and Seattle not score a run for 18 innings. So hopefully we're not there tonight with this one, but maybe. Eric Wallace, how can we win this game? Well, I think it's pretty easy. We get Munoz to get a strikeout here. And you get a runner on second automatically, of course, with these new rules. So we get Munoz strike out a guy. They can't move a guy over, or even if they move the guy over, you get to 2 outs. He gets the 3rd out without them scoring a run. We come back next inning. Rojas plays small ball, bunts the guy over, and then Julio comes up to the plate and knocks him in on a sac fly. Game over. Mariners win. That's how we do it. 1-0 count here to Anthony Stadander. And Munoz is on the hill here for Kirby now. Munoz trying to keep the runner close on second. Smart. These guys are baseball as much as ever I've seen this year. Runners taking third base. Trying to steal the third base as much as ever. I doubt he would go, but you want to track it. Foul back there, 1-1. Skyler says Holmgren was the quarterback coach for a good stretch in San Francisco, if my childhood memories serve me correct. Yes. Yes, he was. I think he was the offensive coordinator. I don't think he's a quarterback's coach. Might have been both. Oh, man. Runner will take third there without even a throw. Kid's fast. Sucks you got the opening inning of having a guy on base that's that quick. Jeez. All right, well, runner on third. Nobody out. 2-1 count here. Foul back, 2-2. Santander, like the city in Spain. Am I mispronouncing it wrong? Definitely possible. Grog, truly the secondary has potential to be an all-timer. Reek has GOAT ceilings. Boone has all-pro ceiling. Jamal was a Hall of Famer, was on a Hall of Fame track, and Quandre is a consistent Pro Bowler. It could be. It could be, Grug. The talent is there with it, but it's all got to get on the field and play now, you know. Ball's hit on the ground. Mariners infield was up, so they will snatch the ball. Runner will be forced to wait on third, and that will be 1 man down. So just get a strikeout now, Munoz. Get us out of it with that, and we can manufacture the hell out of this crap at the bottom of the inning. There we go. There we go. 1 man out, runner on third. Mariners tied 0-0. Mariner infielders are still playing up. Foul back, 102-mile-an-hour fastball by Munoz. Mountcastle couldn't quite get around on that one. He's 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts in this game. Batted back up the middle, and that's going to be a base hit. Runner will come home. Orioles are going to be up 1-0. Darn. Well, they manufactured it. You get the stolen base, and you don't have to move a runner over at that point, and then just get the bat on the ball when you got the runner at third. It's the very thing the Mariners, you look back at losing this game, it's the very thing the Mariners couldn't do, the Orioles will be able to do in this game if you fall short. When you had an opportunity earlier in this game with a guy on third and less than 2 outs, and this has been a common Mariner problem where you just can't get that runner home. And it comes oftentimes from a place of you're essentially striking out. And this is the difference right now in this particular game. Granted, they got the runner on second to begin things, and we get that next inning. But disappointing. 1-0 count here to O'Hearn. Low, 2-0. Runner on first. 1 man down. Y2K says runner on third, 1 out. I always say Walker guy. That certainly is a way they could have gone with it. I think they probably just didn't like the lefty matchup part of it. And we've got an error now. Boy, oh boy. Well, then you come in and you miss Crawford at just the wrong time. Dylan Moore comes up and sort of slow plays the ball, odd plays the ball a little bit there. Has a bounce off his deal, and that's going to be an error. The wheels coming off of the Mariners here a little bit. 2 balls batted right back up the box there on Andres Munoz and hit pretty hard. Moore just kind of didn't get his body in front of that ball like he needed to. He sort of just kind of didn't have a lot of time to get in front of it, but then also didn't work real hard to get in front of it either. Big Country says, I wish the M's would bunt, but they refuse somehow. Yeah, I do too, man. I'm with you on it. It's infuriating that they can't do it, and it's something I hate talking about a lot because it just comes up over and over. I know on the channel a bunch, but it just comes back to you play in a big stadium. You got to play small ball. Part of playing small ball is bunting guys over. Part of playing small ball is manufacturing runs. You've got to have that be a tenet of your team, or move the fences up, right? This is an either or situation for this organization to think about with that. But they don't seem to want to do one or the other. Ooh, first pitch ball looked like that was right there. Ohtani says total Felix game. Total Felix game. Inside, ball 2. Munoz definitely is not on his spots tonight. Skyler says, I went full nerd out a while ago to win an argument and discovered a direct connection with Holmgren leaving San Francisco with the insane amount of quarterback injuries they have had since then, leading the league by far. Well, that makes sense. This ball's hit up into the air, and that will be an out. So 2 outs. Mariners can get out of this inning without there being any further damage. They'll have a runner on second. You're not going to have to face Felix, the closer for Orioles, next inning. And Adam Frazier, the former Mariner, is up at the plate. Munoz, nice pitch there. Nice little breaking ball there that snuck in the zone. Strike 1. That's interesting, though, Skyler. I hadn't thought of that a lot, but as I think through the names that have been injured through that time, there is indeed a lot of them. 0-1. Fouled back. 0-2. Runners get their lead from first and third. 2 men down. 0-2 count here to Frazier. Tried to get him a swing down at a low pitch there. Couldn't do it. Good take. Wu-Tang says Munoz more worried about velo than control. Get it right and the speed will come. Agreed. Yeah. Sometimes you need to hit your spots, and especially when you got the 102 mile an hour fastball, if you're allowing it to get too much to the plate and too high up into the plate at times, boy, that ball was just cranked by Frazier foul. He was all over that pitch. The ball starts to rise, and it doesn't do that thing like we get from Logan Gilbert, where it's rising from the top of the strike zone to above the strike zone by the time it's hitting over the plate, and the hitter can't really judge that. It's more of it's rising from low to high, and it's going right over right into the danger zone for hitters where, yeah, it's 100 miles an hour, but it's in a spot that they can do something with it. Strike 3. Andres Munoz pumps a fastball right down the middle, and he gets himself a strikeout. So we do get 1 run here from the Orioles, but the error does not end up costing the Mariners here, and they're going to get a runner at second. So part of my bitching and moaning here, part of my complaining here, is that this team can't seem to play any kind of small ball, that there seems to be some impediment to them playing in small ball. Here's our situation. We get a runner at second. We have Rojas, the second baseman, who's going to come up to bat. Rojas should be bunting over the second base, the guy that's going to be on second, and then you have Julio up to the plate with an ability to then tie this back up and bring this game back in the right direction without even having to get a base hit. But the big issue, the big problem, the thing that's come up with this Mariner team, and one of the reasons this Mariner team struggles so heartily in scoring runs is they almost have an utter refusal in their soul to play small ball, to lean into that aspect of the game. And we'll see what Service chooses to do here on this next upcoming inning. But this has been one that's been definitely a frustration one for me for a while, because there's times where you leave really easy runs there on the board you could go and get. We did it in this game. We wouldn't be into extra innings right now if the Mariners were playing small ball earlier in this game by simply, you've got a guy in third, don't strike out now. Hit the ball anywhere out there, just don't pop it up, don't strike it out. And we got ourselves a run early in the game. Infield's playing back. Couldn't do it. Your guy struck out. See what happens here. Be interesting to see if this is maybe a change here on this one. Skyler says disputes with other coaches around player protection protocols, etc., were a big part of his departure. Holmgren? Wow, I didn't know that. I thought it was just Skyler. He was getting the opportunity to be head coach out there at Green Bay. Skyler says last season San Francisco had to use their 6th-string quarterback. Laughing out loud, that culture down there definitely has something wrong with it. Could be. It could be, man, when it happens over that many years, and you haven't had a lot of different changes of ownerships and stuff over that time. So are we getting another inning of Felix here? Looks like they had their other guy in the bullpen ready to go, but it does look like we're getting another inning here of the Orioles closer. And he tries to flip around to see if Rojas is going to bunt. See if Rojas does indeed bunt here. Rojas doesn't bunt, but instead is going to try to get a base hit as a 9-hole hitter off of a effing closer. Rojas is hitting .218 on the year. What are we doing? Oh, Service, you suck at this part of the game. 0-1 pitch here. Now he's going to bunt. And he's going to take an effing strike. Fantastic. Wow. Well, new players or not, Rojas newly added. I guess it doesn't matter. I don't know what the point of the first pitch was having him swing away. He's 1-2 here. Bet Dare says Mariners are scoring 3 this inning. I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right. One and two pitch to Rojas. Outside. Ball 2. Y2K, like Brandon Nimmo player you're kind of talking about that we lack is a lot harder to find nowadays in baseball. I suppose so. I mean, maybe it's just a culture thing of baseball where there's just guys that can't, do that type of thing anymore. But so I see teams doing it against us, Y2K. I see when the Cleveland Indians come through and they've got they manufacture, I do see how there are teams out there able to pull it off. And this ball's bounced in the dirt for a 3-2. Julio Rodriguez sitting on deck. Bet there. You might be right on your prediction there if you get a walk. Nobody out. Mariners down 0-1. Bottom of the 10th inning. Marlowe gets his lead from second. Batista with his wind. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. So glad we had that guy swing away there. I'm so glad you have one of the best closers in baseball and you tried out a 218 hitter and all you need to do is move a runner over so you can maintain a tie score to keep yourself in this. And rather than do that, you say, no, let's have that 217 hitter swing away. I'm sure he's probably going to get a hit against this guy. That's probably going to happen. Cleveland Indians are also bad, just saying. Yeah, well, I mean but Y2K, the point on it though is that there's teams that are able to manufacture runs. There's other parts of the Cleveland Indian teams that's bad, but this whole thing that there's just no way to build a team in this way. Well, if that's the case, Y2K, and that we just look at a league across the entire nation of teams that we're looking across, that we have nothing but everybody swing or miss, strikeout city, can't manufacture any runs, got to swing at everything everywhere in the zone. If that's the case, then bring the fences in, right? So if it's that wholehearted to where you can't build that team as a design team to build to your park, to function within your park. And you did it 20 years ago, Y2K. That's the thing about this funny. So in 20 years now, we suddenly can't do it. You won more games in your history as a team throughout your roster, your entire franchise history, when you did the simple thing of building a team exactly the way that I'm preaching for them to do so. And then you never went back and did it again after that 2001 season. You scurried away from being a team that can manufacture runs, and now it's all about the home runs and strikeouts, and here we go. So we got Julio in a 1-2 count now, one man down, 1-0 Baltimore. Strike 3, Julio goes down. Yeah, I would have bunted with Rojas too. That's stupid stuff to me. That's like that Service walked up there and had Rojas swinging away to start things off there against this guy. That is Bush League stuff on Service's part. And I would love to hear the reporters ask him as to what he was thinking there by having him do that. Eugenio Suarez comes up. Let's see if we can make it a hat trick here with Batista this inning here. Batista swings and knocks it back foul. 0-1. Skyler says, just look at what being the quarterback for San Francisco did to Colin Kapp. By the end of his tenure there, the man couldn't even stand up. It's an epidemic, I tell you, Skyler. An epidemic. 0-1 count here to Eugenio. Swing and a miss. 0-2. J.O. says, let's go, Eugenio. Let's go, Eugenio. It's all on him. Here's the pitch. Foul back, stays alive. It will remain 0-2. Oh, 2 pitch. Batista set. Looks back at second. Wind low. Ball 1. Good eye there by Eugenio not to wave at that one. One, 2 count. Batista taking every last second of that pitch clock. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. That will end it out. The Mariners do the trifecta and have all 3 guys strike out to finish things off here in the 10th and extra frames. And it does continue to be the issue with this team. This team's coming on the run of their hottest time they've run through this year so far. So it shouldn't be understated at how well they've played as of recent. I think that it's definitely encouraging to see what they've been able to do and go on this winning streak like they've been able to go on. But we also have to acknowledge with this team that this issue of being wholly reliant at times on only getting home runs. We'll get walks, and then someone's going to do a 3-run homer, and then somebody else will do a 2-run homer later in the game, and we'll be good to go. And you rely on that, and there's just games where you're going to go quiet. There's games where you're not going to be able to get home runs. And in those games, when you have a pitcher who goes out there like Kirby and pitches a masterful 9 innings of work where he doesn't give up a single run, you may only get one opportunity in those type of games that the other pitcher is matching you step for step. And you have to take advantage of those opportunities. I understand that we are no longer in small ball phase as far as Major League Baseball goes. I get that there's been a sea change, and this sea change came because of steroids, really. These young hitters were watching all these McGuire, Sosa hitters hit home runs, Barry Bonds, and they said, that's what I want to do. And it changed the hitter's approach at the plate. And then analytics came in and then further changed that approach at the plate. And it has made it a bit of an issue when it comes to, playing baseball. And it makes it an issue to me in watching the base sport because it's taken away from the entertainment value where you can just count on your team. You saw me guys setting the stage for this. I sat there and talked about it for innings saying, here it's going to come and they're not going to play small ball. I can literally predict it. And when it reaches a point where I as a fan can predict the failing within your team that you refuse to fix, what is Service thinking having that hitter run up there and be swinging that bat there? What's he thinking? What is he thinking is going to happen with Rojas there? That he's going to get a base hit? I'm not asking the team to manufacture everything or turn into the 2001 Mariners of everything was kind of manufactured. It was very, very little home run balls that made that team go. But no manufacturing, no ability to do any of that, no willingness to do any of that, none of the hitters' approach at the plate showing any willingness to be able to try to just get the bat on the ball and get him moved over. None of that. None. Zero. It is completely missing. And beyond adding hitters this offseason, beyond improving this team this offseason, if this the general manager office and this team continues to ignore this part of the team that is necessary in this ballpark, you play in one of the biggest pitching ballparks there is in Major League. It's not the biggest park, I don't think, from a dimension standpoint, because of where the ballpark is located, because it's at sea level, because the air is really thick around there, because the wind blows in a certain way that knocks balls down by a tendency out there into left field. You just aren't going to be able to play the home run ball game. You've got to find a way to lean into a different direction or change the dimensions of your stadium. One of the two. I sat for 18 innings watching my team last year. 18 innings rooting the team on. Everybody up on their feet after every 2 strike. Everyone up on their feet after every time you get a guy on a base. And you couldn't bring anybody in. You couldn't manufacture anything. 18 innings, by the way. Remember with this. That's 18 innings with you having a runner on second, and you couldn't get them over. Couldn't get them home. It is really, really, really frustrating. And the fact that the team doesn't deal with it year in and year out and sort of just ignores it in their approach is wild to me. There's been times with general managers that have come through here I feel like they think they're in a small little ballpark. They think they're back in the Kingdom or something in the way that they build the team up a bit. And you go, are you not aware of what you got to in the stadium, what you need, what's going on, what you have to do here? No, we got our analytics say we got to get this guy here. What about the stadium plan? What about needing games like this where you manufacture that one run early on in this game, one run early on in the game when you have an opportunity, when you have a runner on third? Can you manufacture that? Can you get the bat on the ball there, get it in play, and get that runner home, and you win this game? Nope, can't do that. Well, then, okay, you get into open extra innings. You have a runner on second. You have your 9th hole hitter up to the plate. You have a pinch hitter up to the plate who's hitting .217 on the season. Do you choose to bunt with that guy? Not until you get him into a one-strike situation where he has one pitch to lay the bunt down or not then. All the room for error then removed on that moment because you decide to have him swing away initially. And it fails. It predictably fails. It's very strange. Very strange. And I can understand culture change in baseball and the way that things work is different, all that, and that stuff's all very readily true. I'll give you some ground on that, but it is also absolutely strange the way and manner by which this team goes about hitting and goes about trying to produce runs. And that there's nothing to it other than just we've got it's going to be a home run, walk and a home run. We need a couple walks and we'll get our home run, then that'll be our runs. It doesn't feel sustainable to me, and it doesn't feel like it's a really great plan going into the future for a team that can go and win a World Series. That feels like a team that's always going to fall a little bit short because they're never in the situations where they need to, going to be able to create the runs they need to go out there and win. And this home run stuff, when it starts getting cold and you're going to be a playoff team and playing in October and that temperature drops, do you think the ball travels farther then? Do you think the ball travels better then? When we start talking about this team theoretically getting into the playoffs and making a deep postseason run on the back of a team that's heavily built to hit home runs first and foremost, to be their only manner by which they're going to go get runs from, those don't go together well. Especially when you're playing again in this park that is so vacuous and plays I think it plays like one of the best pitching parks in all of baseball, if not the best one. So build your philosophy, backtrack it, back engineer from that. Back engineer from that reality, or change the reality and move the fences up. But it doesn't seem like there is a solution or fix here where you're going to start to play a little bit better small ball. Or even, I don't even think, like, I'd be okay if they went out there and they really just tried, and like he tried to get a bunt down, failed to get the bunt down, Julio, or gets the bunt down, then Julio's up there and he's just trying to get a bat on the ball and can't do it. That's a failure you can understand. But when it fails from you not even enabling the tactical nature of it, that's when I start to go, that's stupid. That's completely ridiculous. Big Country says, completely unacceptable game, but they're playing great the last 20 or so. They are. It doesn't toss out how well they have played, and they still do remain in this playoff hunt, of course. They're right in the mix of it. They've got as good a chance as anybody here. So it shouldn't be viewed as this is something that's going to be like, they can't get over this loss. This is gonna ride with them for a while. It won't. I'm just a little bit frustrated with this particular part of the game because this is the thing that's driving me nuts in watching this team for the last couple of years. It's like they don't want to play a part of what's supposed to be a part of baseball. And it all comes on the back of this new age, newfangled thinking of analytics coming in. And it's like, again, where we go into the analytics coming in and messing up a sport, messing up the nature of the sport. And I'm sure some numbers guy can tell me why you don't ever do this, never do that. But it seems like BS to me. I can't buy into it myself. I bet Derek, thank you for the pod. Thank you, man. I appreciate you checking it out, brother. And we will, Bet Dare says that will never happen again. You witnessed history. I don't know, Bet Dare. It happened to me when I sat in that stadium for 18 games in the playoffs last year. That was 18 innings of 0-0. 0-0. So I have been down this road before with it, you know. Y2K, we did go for Adam Frazier and Colton Wong this year in terms of playing small. We did go for the kind of dudes they just happened to fall off a cliff, just playing devil's advocate. That's a fair enough deal. But again, you're constructing a lineup when you bring those two guys in. We go back to the lineup is constructed with a big, heavy amount of guys that are looking to hit home runs or strike out too much. And that was my point with that on the other side of this Y2K is if you had two guys in on the back end of your roster who are marginal Major League Baseball players, neither of those guys were, difference makers in the sport or guys that were going to add a ton to the lineup for what they were and who they were as you describe them. But then you put a lineup together with 7 other guys that are strikeout, home run. That's basically their approach. Maybe one other guy in Crawford that's on the other side of it. It can't be weighted that way. It's got to be weighted more to the Wong, Frazier types a bit more. And again, I can understand that maybe baseball is not in this place as much, but baseball wasn't as much in this place either Y2K in 2001. In 2001, that was right in the midst of the steroid era. So it wasn't like there was a plethora of teams that were playing small ball at that time. But what you did is you went out there and you recognized market opportunities on players who other teams weren't valuing and then built that team around in that way. You got a guy like a Randy Wynn, for instance, out in left field. Randy Wynn didn't have a lot of value out there, but he was almost a 290 hitter who played some of the best defense you'd find out there in left field, and he could steal bases, and he could get walks. That was a guy that wasn't going to cost you a lot, but you could see the value there in that guy and what he was bringing to the table. And then you constructed a lineup with that, with the John Oleroods out there. And put how you put that together a little bit more. So it's like I think you can do a bit more of it. I don't think there's just 1 or 2 guys that are out there to do it. But when they've weighted this lineup in a whole other different direction, and now we're getting a bit of the fruits of that over the past couple of years, where whether these guys hit home runs or not, or whether they got good power for their position, whether Eugenio's in the top 2 in the last 5 years for home runs, whether all that's the truth or not, the team cannot score runs over the past couple of years. The team struggles to score runs at a painful level over the past couple of years. What's the answer to this? Merely simply just getting better and getting better hitters? Sure, that'd help. But constructing to be more of a lineup that's built to the stadium you play in 81 games a year would be a little bit more appropriate. But I get where you're coming from. Y2K says, Canzone and Marlowe both work at bats and strike out less than average, if I'm correct. That's correct. Yeah. Those two guys got some potential, and maybe they're taking some steps in this direction now to make this more of a reality at this point, which would be nice. I've got hope for those guys. Skylar says, maybe we need to get some more global warming action to get those home runs up. If we can do all of our part to pollute as much as we can, I can see lots of October baseball in the future. There we go, man. There we go. Don't change strategy, just change the weather. I'm with it. I'm with it. And Daniel, yeah, the future is looking very bright for one Mr. George Kirby. Shouldn't undersell that at all. This kid has been just nails this year. I was checking out his stats here for the season. Coming off last year, he was 8-5, 3.39 ERA, 1.21 WHIP. Comes back this year, he's 10-8, 3.11 ERA, down to a 1 WHIP at this point in time this year. His strikeout to walk ratio is, ridiculous. 131 strikeouts, 14 walks. Like, get out of here. And that's even improved on last year where he was great in that realm as well. But George is going to be a good one, a very, very good one for years to come. And only, what is he? 1998. So still very, very young guy, 24, 25 years old. So he's just a baby. Y2K says, if we ever get a member emojis, we demand a Kirby emoji. We will have a Kirby emoji. And yes, we for sure will have that, man. I will have that for 100%. 100% certainty. Big Country, we really missed JP tonight. You have to think we did, man. Another guy in there able to provide a little bit more of a solid bat down there might have been beneficial. It's a good point. It is indeed. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and call the ball on that one, folks. I will be back over my Hawks Nest channel tomorrow. We'll be streaming at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time over there on that end of things. I will be trying to get some baseball streams up as I can. If we get some day games and stuff, I know as the season starts to wind down, I'll probably be doing some of those in addition to this. So appreciate all of the folks who did jump in on the stream tonight and watching here with me on that. Sorry it was a bit of a frustrating game at the end, but I had fun chopping it up with you guys as I ever do. And minimum will be back in a week or so to stream again here. If we can do it next Saturday, I'll try to pull it off that time. YQ2K says, I notice a lot of splitters and sinkers that are kind of in the middle of the plate, but go for a strike at first. I was like, bad pitch, but I think they throw it because it looks like it's a high fastball at first. Yeah, I mean, that's what you're trying to that's what, especially if you're one of those guys like a Logan Gilbert that throws the rising plane fastball. You run that up against a splitter, and the hitter's thinking the pitch is going to rise up. So not only is it not a flat plane thing, but they're thinking it's going to rise. And if you've got a splitter to go to on the other side of it, now that thing's dropping down in the dirt, and it's got way more of a plane you're giving the hitter to have to look through, and they're not likely to get good contact when you've got the guy thinking he's got to take it from a swing up here to take it to a swing down here. And then especially if you can get the splitter to really just drop completely out of the back of the zone where it doesn't even get in as a strike. But ideally, Y2K, you don't want to let the splitter go high and end up at the bottom of the zone too much. The real point with the splitter is to have it dive out of the zone, or just barely lick it, Big Country, you have a good one, Jo. Thank you, man. You have a good one too as well. I appreciate it. But yeah, it looks like a high fastball at first, the splitter, because it comes out like a fastball. It comes out of the hand. It's not got the slider or the curve kind of spin to it. So you're picking up the spin on the ball, and it completely looks like a fastball, but it will just dive at that last second. Y2K says, not so much in the dirt, but like a splitter that lands in the middle of the plate. You don't want to do that, ideally. Number one, that can get to a point of hanging very quickly, and if a splitter hangs, it's just going to spin, and it's going to be flat, and it won't have any movement, and it's going to get crushed. So, if you're dropping it in that way, you might be able to fool the hitter there, but it's easier to fool the hitter going from the bottom of the zone almost into the dirt. That's whenever you watch splitters and you're watching the nasty strikeouts, they're coming by the ball diving out of the zone. That it never is a strike crossing the plate. And if you've got enough movement on it, it doesn't have to be a strike because the movement's going to dictate to the hitter to swing. And then it's too late for them to realize by the time the diving action is through for them to realize that it's not a strike. I mean, that's just my opinion on it. I'm sure there's some folks that are willing to throw it in the zone and put it out there. But I would be worried about it hanging because if you have in your fingers and it comes spinning out, and I once threw one that way and I actually got a strikeout because it just confused the hitter, but you're not normally going to get a strikeout with it. It just flattens out, and then it's about 7 to 8 miles an hour slower than your normal fastball, because you don't have as much the grip on it on the threads. So, all right, well, we'll call it on that one, the Y2K. I will see you tomorrow over on the other side of things. Says, I notice the middle splitters and sinkers that end up in the middle. You'll see it in the game day middle, but like the top half of the middle. Yeah, that's right. It's hard to judge too, because it's coming in at sometimes a extreme level, you know. It's really diving if you got it going right, especially the splitters. Sinkers will dip. Splitters to me are more dives. They'll really with a just extreme suddenly snap down, you know. Voodoo says that's a heartbreaker. Wish we could have used some of those 9 runs from yesterday. Yeah, man, Voodoo, we certainly could have. It was a little tough. It's a little tough on that one, but we'll bounce back tomorrow. See if we get this series wrapped on that back up and get this Mariner team back on board with some runs tomorrow. Just went a little bit cold tonight, maybe get things going. Appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so very much. We will be back again next Saturday, and if not, I'll try to get back a little bit earlier. But until that time, I hope you guys don't ever forget